What's going on there, YouTube? It's going to be Donnie coming to you from Asawa, Japan. Got my guy here, Lexis King. As always, man, like I say, we talked about it a little bit, like on a few podcasts ago about the doing Formula Drift. Unfortunately, everything got pushed back, due to old man Corona. But everybody's persevering and got things done. So, getting right into it, we definitely talked about it. We just want to make it fruition and make it happen and everything. So the recaps are just like going over. Look for the guys out there. Everybody's in the industry's probably seen it, but there's some guys out there who haven't followed it, stuff like that. So we're gonna go over the FD results from FD USA from rounds 1 and 2. And also from FD Pro. And again, I got Lexis here because guys who don't know, Lexis is pretty heavily ingrained into the FD. Spotter for JGP, correct? Or
yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah. And of course, in this out there in the scene, man, he's deeply in the scene, man. So if you guys don't know, first time meeting Lex, definitely Lex is of the Riot Squad. Definitely go and check out the King of Creations or King of Recreation. I screwed it up every time, man.
Oh, no, it's all good. King of Recreations, but we're going off of King of Experience because everything we're doing in life is an experience right now. So
Roger that. So, of course, as always, I'll be linked down and everything. So just jump right into it, man. Lex, is this, like, one thing is I was like, man, this looks kind of weird. Is this the first time FD's ever done a double round like that in one day?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is nuts. Didn't we predict that this was going to be what they did?
We did.
Yeah, and it's the first time that they've done a doubleheader event, first time that they've done an event on a Sunday. Typically, everybody, we're packing up and we're jumping on a plane and headed home on Sundays. So
right.
It's quite a hustle. It was quite a hustle. And I think one of our early predictions was that it's going to be up to guys' vehicles to stay together. And at the end of the season, it's really just going to be a gladiator battle, whoever was able to fight through for the whole weekends of events, because typically guys fly in, cruise, everything gets ready. Thursday might be a couple of practices, test runs or whatever like that, media days. Friday, all day practice. Saturday, all morning practice. And then you jump into, Friday qualifying, and then Saturday you got practice in tandem. So guys are coming in town and getting straight to the business.
Yeah.
Literally going hard until Sunday, which is something very different, and getting to see how everybody put their best foot forward. And there was really no engine failures and stuff like that. Guys had issues that went on, but I think the cool thing about the double header thing is guys that had problems that cars either broke or something weird happened, they got to come back the next day.
Like instant redemption.
Yeah. They got to swing for the fences. So myself personally, this is something that I didn't know that I needed for FD Pro competition. I like it. I like how it was as a fan. I like the fact that I was not out there participating, putting up, sitting down, tearing apart, getting everything ready, because I feel that it's probably going to be a stressful season with how close and back to back all the rounds are.
Right.
But I mean, production stepped up.
Oh yeah.
The live stream, which has always been a point of frustration for a lot of viewers.
It was solid.
But yeah, it was actually pretty good. So I kind of like it, dude. What did you think about it?
Yeah, man, we just talked about that a little while ago, but the D1 GP and how D1 GP was stepping it up, and I was kind of like not kicking FD, but I was like, man, they gotta, D1 GP kind of stood back for a little bit, and they were still doing the DVDs. Then they came out like with this masterful production, man. The angles, the drones, and the technology is making everything better. The bit rates are better. Pocket Wi-Fi is a lot better. Than pocket Wi-Fi is better than some infrastructures back in the day. So. Like I said, I watched the FD feed here in Japan. They didn't have a single drop, single glitch. It was clear. They had the multiple angles. They still have the little, I guess like little dead spaces. But they could fill it in with some panning shots. But I mean, there was no fans there. There was no background stuff. So it was kind of right to the point. But definitely, man, the FD USA versus the FD Japan feed. FD USA one is, of course, better. Japan one, again, and kind of with Robbie and those guys are kind of like a little bit of dead space. But yeah, man, the live stream is becoming a thing. I believe not only for going forward, but because Corona is like detrimental now to to get people in and do that stuff. So I like it, man. It was good. And again, from Japan, my garage in Japan live, it was no drops. It was good.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And you're referring to the dead space as in like no talking time, like pregnant pauses.
Right. Yeah. So it's kind of like because it's go my bad.
Okay, I think one of the only things that FDUSA's live stream could have done a little bit better is when they went back and forth to their correspondent to the young lady out in the field. Sometimes that got fumbled quite a bit, or if there wasn't enough communication, like we're getting ready to go to you, you know what I mean? Because she would be out of position, and then it would be she's trying to scramble to get to the driver for the moment, and then they're like, now let's get back to the action. So that's the only criticism, but. Yeah. Other than that, jammed.
Yeah, but I mean, shit, you know more, you know as well as I know, man. How much? I mean, people don't realize how much planning and forward thought it takes to put their product out there. So I'm not, I'm definitely not, saying I can step in and do. I mean, I know, definitely people always see the result. They don't see the behind the scenes, and with live, you're seeing the behind the scenes and the result at the same time. So it's like. That's they got to have those earbuds and FBI style.
They have like a full production staff, dude. Yeah, I mean you got to think about it. They're running multiple cameras. Right. They're running drones. They've got a guy that's setting up replays. They've got the graphics and everything for that. Commercial space, commercial time. Going to Lorette Nichols down there in the field. They've got. Just guys with earbuds everywhere to get that figured out, as well as the judges were in remote areas, I guess on the second day, because I think Ryan Latain got a fever. He wasn't sick or anything, but he got a fever. But, I mean, they were doing that from a remote location. You know what I mean? So there's so many different things as far as logistics goes. Dude, they did a stellar job. And, some people will be like, oh, well, I mean, they had enough time to set it up. The season was mad late. But you never know what you're going to have to deal with until, you know what I mean, the element comes about. So it was pretty rad. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, it definitely, like I said, and everything, of course, I mean, the thing, stuff we talk about, they already know because they watch it back, they get the feedback and everything and stuff like that. And people probably like some buddy of one of their production guys who's watching, like, yeah, man, this and this. So they already got their notes. I know that, but it's good to be able to bring that towards the fans out there so they can see it again. Because right now, like I said, man, it's good. It's more like drifting is cool. We like it, but it's more of the bigger part of everything is showing progression and showing that people are still living life, man. Because right now everybody's so focused on the elections coming up, Corona and all that crap, and it's like guys have been brave for so long. I mean, shit. I don't know if you follow like the other, Joe Rogan, and it's like half the dudes are leaving California. They're going to Texas or whatever.
Running away to Texas,
Yeah, so it's like they all following Joe and shit, and that stuff. But it's like, I don't know how it is. They got enough money to move around. So like that's some different shit to talk about. So right now, like I said, I want to kind of get into the we'll start with the Pro2 since they kicked off first. Pro2 round 2, and then also I got some side notes on that because one of the podium guys we all know. If you've been in the scene a little bit, the history behind this guy. So with the Pro2 results, and then I'll let you speak on the actual driving. Pro2 round 1, St. Louis results. We had Joshua Love first place.
Jonathan, man, right there.
Jonathan, was that? Did I put under there? So Jonathan. So Joshua Love, I believe, was a rookie, correct? First season?
Yep. He got his, he may have got another one, but he got his Pro2 endorsements from our Pro2 shootout at Sonoma that I got to, mingle with him firsthand, and I announced on that one. So, he was a straight rookie Pro2.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Then we had a returner, Jonathan Hurst. And then we had another rookie in first year, Austin Matta, that's what I wanted to kind of speak on, man. So congrats to those guys on the results there. Going into the battles, what did you think about the battles, the overall? One thing I seen from just tapping in, man, is just the like not one level up, but just like multiple levels up in the car builds, the driving and the consistency, man. Like it's like I was telling you online, man, it's kind of blurring the a little bit. It's kind of making that gap between Pro 2 and Pro very small now, because the builds are almost Pro 1. They just got to get the the rankings and points and get to the next level and get the budget, but the cars are pretty much spot on, man.
Yeah, the guys that have the budget, that have the funding, the backing to do it, literally they're just trying to get that minimum point,
Right.
and they're shooting right over.
Right.
Talent may or may not be there, but I mean, like I know, if you have a little bit of the talent, some guys feel like they don't want to waste their time in Pro 2.
Right.
And I feel like that's kind of how everybody builds their cars.
Mm-hmm.
So I give super respect to Josh Love because he's driving the same car he was driving last year. Mm-hmm. This isn't a new build or anything. This is the same BMW. Maybe a few refined parts, maybe a few other partners came online to sponsor the program or to do something. But, same car, same build, rolling all the way through. And I hope to see him, if he does become champion for Pro 2. I hope to see him maybe stay for one more year, because what you used to think of, like, they would say back in the day when we were doing Pro-Am, like, do Pro-Am 2 years. Mm-hmm. 1, to get your feet wet. 2, to see if you could dominate it, and then move up, right? And so it's kind of what I think would be a better program, maybe a possible program to open up more avenues for Pro 2, is if there was somebody that was good and kind of what's the guy named Power Vehicles? Andy Gray. Yeah, Andy Gray. He rocked out Pro 2 for a couple of years.
Andy, and he's D1 GP, FD, everything, and it's just like the reasoning behind that, man. And I'll do the same thing because guys like, hey, man, again, I keep bringing it up, man, because that's my only pro event with King of Asia. I'm like, dude, that's only one event, so even if I go to do a petition, they may or may not. They be like, "Yeah, you got to get some more," because that's only one event. And then to them, they like, well, and to be honest, the way the world sees it, it's kind of like, if you're a UFC champion and then you go to some other organization, you were a champion. They're like, cool, you're gonna walk right in. But if you were a UFC fighter, you had you're 2-5, they be like, hey, you got to get some more wins, man.
Yeah, that's not enough experience.
Yeah, like even though you're a UFC, you're not John Jones. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So. With that, man, me personally, I was just talking to my guy Alan Newsom, who fits most of the guys out there with the British Moto Gear. He was like, yeah, man, you should do it. I'm like, dude, that same wavelengths, I'm going to get a car over there. It's not even I got pro license here in Japan, but I'm going to Pro 2 is where I'll start once I get into there and do the things. And it's like, I've been away from the States for this long, man. So you can't just walk right in there and then do a figure 8, get the points, and then go right up. And we is a character that we all going to talk about. Everybody knows we're going to talk about on that. So yeah. And but before I agree fully with you on that, man. I think guys, honestly, again, look at a guy like Andy who has the backing, has the money, has the stuff, and I'm talking about his own money, not somebody else's shit. He has his own money, his own thing. Came over there, kind of did it, checked the box, and then he goes back over there, and he's set to win his third straight FD Japan. He just won a first round last week, so he just got it dialed in. He got it.
And again, who's the gatekeeper of Pro 2?
Right.
Pro 2 cycles too much. Guys don't stay there. There's nobody just like, yo, when you go to Pro 2, you got to see homie.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to see if dude if you're gonna beat him, because every time you go to Pro 2, it's just a different cycle of dudes because everybody's trying to jump right over into Pro Series. So Andy Gray was pretty tight for that. One person that really did come not out of nowhere, because we all kind of were familiar about the dude, but then we ended up forgetting about him. Austin Matta, right? So the Austin Matta dude, everybody remembers he was the kind of like the troll type, right?
Yeah.
Takashi 6ix9ine of drifting, because we didn't know who he was, but here he comes talking about money, and he's got tattoos and hair and thugging and all of this. But if this is the same guy, I really don't, I can't think of if it would be anybody else. But if this is the same dude, then he really put the footwork in. He grinded out, built a car, and he's out there putting in work. So it was interesting as hell to see him and see that name pop back up.
Yeah, and I was shocked, man. I was like, huh? Because they just came out of, because I seen, because the thing is, I've been gone since that went down, and he's younger. And I remember seeing the videos, and of course you see everybody in the drift thing was trying to clown him or whatever.
Clowning him,
then generally people like that, they come in, make their thing on the internet thing, and then they just kind of go away. But Then I'm like, huh? And I had to actually look it up because I knew that the name seemed familiar. And again, I don't follow it, the scene closely there. And I was like, man, that's not the same dude that was, sitting on the, and then it's like, and then you look up, and the name of his thing was like, Don't Matter Racing. I was like, that's dope, man, because now he's unflipped it, and then so you got on the lower end spectrum of the thing, and then like I say, we definitely, I mean, everybody's it's no secret, we definitely talk about Adam LZ due to the significance of what we just talked about, because a lot of guys were
trolling, offering him that slander.
We'll get into him a little later, because that's a little
but the Austin Matta, like everybody offered him some slander, made some jokes. It just comes with the territory. But I'm glad to see that he put in the footwork, and like that's the ultimate revenge, right? That's the big payback.
Right. That's the big payback.
Like, yo, I'm here and I'm standing on a podium. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's like, that's the big thing right there, man. A lot of cats, what I don't get, man, is like a lot of dudes who they have no aspiration to do it. You got the Corona. What's that?
That's that Ride Squad mask, man.
Everybody got their mask, man. So I still got some stock from mine, man. But yeah, man, far as the like, the way people do now, but again, social media, again, like we said before, good, bad, it gives everybody a voice and things like that. It gets people out there. It gets people out there that you normally never see in your life. Mm-hmm. And it's like, man, guys, like, he's there, like, he's done whatever he's done. He's there, he's driving the podium. And then guys still like, man, it still ain't good enough or whatever. Like, dude, he's there. Yeah. And there's 1,000 other dudes, myself included, which I didn't hate on him, but I'm like, damn, I'm here in Japan doing this. And I was like, man, I'm like, I want to run Pro2 and do that. And guys like, man, sure in Japan, but I'm like, dude, but it's like that grass is greener shit. That's real. You know what I'm saying? Like when your boots on the ground and the struggle.
Yeah.
I tell guys out there watching for the first time, man, it ain't nothing easier. Actually, it's harder to build a car here because everything that is brought in is marked up. And then you have like the HKS and the blah, 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 where they're refusing to come from top shelf.
Yeah.
They don't want to. They're not going to lower themselves to peasants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, so it's like, you're going to pay $2,000 for the same part, which you can get in the States for like $600.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes from the same factory, actually, believe it or not. So, I'd call it how it is. But anyway, man, major props to Austin Matta. And I hope, I think this is his rookie season. So that was his first event. And then to get a podium in your first event, man, that's I mean, dude, imagine if you would have won the event. That would have been like a big shut the fuck up to everybody.
Hey, yo, just get it, because drifting's like a rebellious thing anyway. I could just see somebody. I could just see somebody that comes from, let's just say, the internet in a way that they get hate, just standing on a podium and firing off a bird to everybody.
Now, like, again, we definitely talk about Adam LZ, man. So like this dude, like imagine like Austin did his thing. He got podium third place. If LZ would have got on any part of that podium, man, the fucking internet would have exploded, dude. Like, it just would have been a collaboration between LZ and the Matta, which is probably already happened or going to happen in the future anyway, because they're out of all of the drivers. I mean, of course, you got the Turk and all those guys who got the gum out and all that stuff, but that's like, it's a different part of YouTube and sponsor stuff. But then you got, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're talking about these two guys, so I don't know if anybody else that drives that has a channel that, that has content and things like that, or has an internet buzz. So it's like, it's kind of like, I guess you would, again, kind of because the guys know out there, I fight or whatever. It's kind of like when, what's the dude, what's that wrestler that got in the UFC, got his ass beat a couple times? Not Brock Lesnar.
Crap. I know what you're talking about.
God damn it, man. I forgot his name, man. But you know what I'm talking about. He got a couple fights and he's like, it's not for him. Yeah, so it's kind of like that. But he just kind of walked in on the strength of he's already the popular wrestler. And they was like, dude, this guy just came out of nowhere and then taking people's spots. And it's not the fact for these guys, because they had to drive, they had to qualify, they had to win to get those endorsements to get to the pros. So they done their thing, they did their thing. So I mean, nobody's buying anything in. You got to prove it out there on the track. As far as I know, you're not able to submit like a monetary entry or anything like that. You gotta win your rights in, man. So he did his
Yeah,
job.
and that's literally it. You're either there because you put in the work,
yeah,
and won your way in, or you're there because you put in the work and petitioned and said, "Hey, here's my resume,"
right.
and they said
From another series, right.
They was like,
yeah.
"All right, cool."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Either way,
and
you put in work. Either way,
right.
either way it went.
And that's again, like we kind of going back to Andy, who you brought up, man. I'm glad you brought up Andy Gray because buddy of mine here, and Andy had more than enough resume to walk right into FD Pro straight in, just like Daigo did.
Yeah,
that rookie. So Daigo was a rookie or whatever, man. So so he could have walked right in, but he was like, it's like he went back, and now it would have been a major thing to see a guy like because even though Andy has his resume, Daigo has his resume, which is significantly bigger. So if they probably would have been like, nah, dude, we can't let you run in Pro 2 like Daigo.
Right.
They were like, nah, dude, that's not
I see that happening with some drivers that I think would come over. Like say there's a certain level of driver that likes 400 or 500 horsepower cars, right? And they don't want to do 1,000 horsepower builds or setups, or they like 255 size tires and come right over into Pro 2 because it's like, yo, that's my style of. That's my vibe. That's my style of car. That's my style of build. And what if they do say, nah, your resume's too stacked for you to go, play over here? I think that would be awkward. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't it be? Because then it's kind of like, nah, I'm forcing you to spend a little bit more money, make a little bit more. Honestly, really a little bit more car, because these Pro 2 and Pro Series builds are they're literally like this, you can go into Pro 2 with low boost and then go Pro Series turning up your boost and changing your tires, essentially. And that's going to be, a pro style build, because I think they just got it on a very level playing field as far as safety standard and builds. And then it's just kind of like, well, do whatever you want on power, but you got to work on these tires.
Right. So, and that's why, because the reason I went, I like you here, man, on this stuff, man, because again, this is actually my first time, like I'm trying to, build the trend. I tuned in for round one, like I said I was going to do for guys out there. And before it was spotty. I would see like the results, or you would talk about it, and but I never really followed it. So I definitely want to follow, because if I'm going to jump into this thing, I got to have my, know what's going on, regulations and stuff there. And I got more than enough guys over there in the States who can advise me on what needs to be built. And honestly, it'll be one of those things where it'll be the first time where I'll just like, hey man, I need a kit. Just give me an FD legal cage, blah, 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 so I can arrive. I ain't got time to really build it myself and then, check it out and then drive. That's what I'll be doing. So, I mean, on a tire aspect, are they, for FD, I seen FD Pro 2, I seen Achilles all splashed there. So, are they forced to use Achilles, or can they use anything they want as long as it's
I think there's 2 series tires now, and they're on 255s.
Right, and you got to use one or the other, or you got
as far as I remember, yes.
Okay.
Now, I guess that's cool, because it literally balances out, because there's guys that are driving on whatever, however, whenever, and most recently guys have been on the Grivas, and they're dealing with an outrageous level of grip. But then your car's been set up on this crazy level of grip, and then you go to the series tires, the spec tire, and it's a little different, So I think for the essence of it, I dig it, fully dig it, because you've got this size tire, everybody's competing on it. You've got these 2 brands, and you literally, it's not really a gamble, but it's a this or that. You got a 50-50 chance on maybe the tire isn't as good as the other tire, but you're only going to find that out in battle,
Right.
You've got guys like, if you look at the Pro 2, there was a ton of buy runs. A ton.
Yeah, because I seen it was 21 vehicles only showed up or something like that.
Yeah, dude, it was a ton of buy runs, and I mean the guys that I was looking forward to see drive was Blake Olson because Blake's a cool dude. He got a bad shake last year when one of the young Sorensen kids destroyed his car on a play day. You know, so I was glad to see him get out there and shake, and you know, it's not enough drive time, or I would say not enough competition teeth cutting when you get a buy run, and you really got to rely on your spotter. Well, you got to have enough experience in the car, on the track, and in competition settings, and then when your spotter says, I need you to do this, this, and this because this guy's doing this, this, and this, it's got to click, and so certain drivers, not speaking Blake, I'm just saying as far as the buy runs, certain drivers, they got out there after their buy run, everything looked good when you're running a solo.
Yep.
When you get in the mix, like really in the mix, when that real, so we drive events, and some guys may not be putting out smoke. There may be wisps of smoke, like not blanketing, covering, debilitating amounts of smoke, and with these cars being overpowered on 255s, some guys are blowing clouds, and that's a weird thing to deal with when you're not fully sure. If I pitch my car right here, it feels a little deep. Am I going to hit the wall? Because I can't see the wall, I can't see maybe how close I am to the guy when I'm coming from this position and transition to this position. I might not see where he is. He might have slowed down just a little bit when he rotated this way and I hit him. There's all kind of things that could happen. And, those buy runs are a make and break sometimes, because you can be feeling all great. Yeah, I'm through, man. We going to top 16, and you get in top 16 and flounder your opportunity,
Yeah. Yeah, that's the big thing right there, and a lot of guys, of course, when the thing was pointing it out with kind of skipping ahead with the LZ man was like, man, he looked good in practice. And you could tell it was it's more casuals, because solo thing is solo. It's just you. It's no there's no smoke in front of you. You can see the entry and exit points, clipping points, everything, man. So there's a difference between and that's where, and again, not a knock on him or anybody else who's been through that thing, man. But I remember the first time I've ever drifted behind a car, and it's like, fuck, I never been behind a car with it smoking. It's like you hope the dude doesn't spin out or flat spin, and you kind of go through. It's like you're just like a faith thing and shit, man. You're like, I don't know, man. So I'm just gonna go ahead and follow the tire squirrel, and kind of aim towards that. But it is a different thing for guys who drifted, who've never been trying to chase a car with a lot of smoke, because you just can't see. And
it's something a casual person doesn't think about.
Right.
You don't think about a pilot flying up through the clouds, and you don't know that he can't see anything until he clears the clouds.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, man. So that is what it is. So let's move, like I say, Pro2. We hit on that and everything. Move forward, man. We had the round one results, which is Frederick Osbo, Ryan Turk, and Odi Bakchis. I always say his name wrong, man. So is it Bakchis or Bakchis?
Artemis Bakchis.
Bakchis, yeah, man. I always say his name. I never met him personally, man, so I don't say his name a lot. So, like with the first round, man, what was your thoughts on the first round? The I guess the leading up to there, and then of course, you could tell one thing I seen right away, man, was you could see guys had the cars built, but again, like they didn't get that time, to me, what also looking in, I might be wrong, but I got to see that some guys who have a certain level of driving, you can see where they were still figuring out the car, man, which is like, it's kind of making a balance towards it's giving guys a little bit of a chance. And how'd you feel on that, man? What was your thoughts on the progression of the rounds into the final rounds and everything?
So it was cool. I really liked the system that they did as far as placement of the brackets. No qualifying. I think we predicted that.
Yeah, definitely.
Very short practicing, and it was pretty good battles. I was pleased with the battles. A few standout things happened as far as choices on setups. and we'll talk about that later as far as the series for first round, choices of setups that drivers took. When you can visually look at it and say, something ain't right. Like, that ain't, he ain't on like he's usually on. And that was very apparent this round, right? So there was things that I'm looking at. Of course, the Supras were dialed. Papadakis did his thing. Kinguchi Supra seemed to be just about the same performance as his FRS BRZ was. And Ryan Turek has been driving a demo of that Corolla for a while. And I kind of feel like that Corolla is like a Hollywood Disney stunt car. If you've never seen that, you guys that are looking up, just look at it on YouTube. Disney has these little freaking stunt cars that they do all this choreography driving, and they seem to be easy to drive, but they seem to be just able to put them everywhere they need to be with the right driver. And since Turek has been playing with this car for a minute as a demo car, jumping in, and I think they did confirm it. I didn't think all weekend. My boy's like, no, it's the same car. Because I knew that Turek had a demo car that he's brought to Winter Jam. I've seen a lot of it. But I guess he still has that as a demo car. This is actually Osbo's previous car. So it was dialed. He jumped right in and got busy. And a lot of the things I saw in round one was kind of like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. So-and-so didn't do this, or I felt like he should have did this. It was kind of a typical first round outcome, I think. You know what I mean? Like Turek's always right there. He can just get on the podium or he can not. Odie and Osbo, same thing. They're going to get on the podium somehow. James Dean and Peter, they disbanded. And they're not there, so it kind of left the door wide open for somebody's taking first, right? Gonna be Osbo or Odie, and then the rest of the chips are kind of gonna fall where they may. So it was kind of just like, let's see what the supporting cast is gonna look like. I was rooting for Ryan Littoral because I want to see him do well. I want to see him. I like his aggression, right? And usually the first battle, drivers typically don't always get to put it forward, even though Ryan does put a lot out. I want to see him get hungrier as the battles proceed. I want to see what a top 8 battle with Ryan Littoral looks like, in that animal of a 350Z.
They kind of almost got they got to see a little bit what the next round, which was when he went against Denofa and everything, and now you can see right there everybody was even calling it in the booth. It was like they were expecting carnage because like we are again the setup you talking about right there, kind of going into that. Denofa straight up said I don't know, again I brought it up behind the doors, just like he said all right, I'll take your advice on the setup this time, but the next round let me go ahead and turn these dials myself, and you see
what happened.
And it's like he turned the dials himself, and then he he's a driver, and it's like that's right there, man. For me, for a guy like me, that I was just like smiling, man, because it's like a team is definitely needed. You need a good team, you need a good spotter, you need all this stuff to progress in that level, but there's still a place where a guy who's on a team. He has a car and everything, but still that mindset. He's like, man, let me do my thing, and then they'll probably like, oh yeah, you're all right, man.
That means he's a savage. He was like, man, I heard you, but it didn't work yesterday, did it?
Right.
Let me do me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I mean that's like you can't you wouldn't see a interesting thing about somebody like Petra Solberg or in Rally, and then you got like Lewis Hamilton. They'd be like, "Yeah, let me do the camera on the F1 car today." Like, nah, dude, you're gonna get in there
like,
shit and drive. It's like
stay on that side.
Yeah. So like that was dope, man. Like, and again, I don't know what's the fallout gonna be from that because again,
It's you know what, I don't know, maybe if ego or pride or something comes in that mix, but honestly, it shouldn't be. Right, because
shouldn't be.
I've recently in the last couple of years have learned how to kill my ego and pride, right? And always operate on respect. So if that team is meshing on straight respect, it's like, you know what? You made the right call. You know, that was the right move, because not only didn't just, you got in further in battles. Nah, you stood top step.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that was round two. We'll kind of stay on round one, because I've got a lot to say with round two.
Yeah. All right, so wrapping up round round one and everything, it was like it's nice, man, from an aspect to see a lot of what we talked about actually came to fruition, man. Meaning, like, you know, it was going to be a kind of I want to say rocky, but it was going to kind of go down to who's feeling the best in the car. Like that, the top three in that first round was going to be those guys who had the cars dialed in already.
I was jumping.
They were like, those cars weren't being built. They weren't being, as far as I know. Because I need to get, I don't follow too much, but I don't know, like, you know, was Osbo car, Turk's and Botch's car already done and is waiting for the call, or were they
kind of, you know, because you know, Odie just does everything. He just goes right out into the garage and does work,
right?
And his formula is so good because S chassis, right?
Yep.
He's made suspensions for however many millions S15s around the world, because he runs field suspension. So he knew around the way of what he's done for other cars, and he knows what he wants as a driver. He's had so much S chassis experience in the 14, so things can kind of relate, right? Matt Fields, killer program, killer car. Small issues with steering, and he had an oiling issue, or fuel issue. The uplift, basically the pickup into a surge tank. What other guys had standard car setups? Vaughn's just driving the same old same. You know, cars get faster and cars get lighter. Vaughn just follows the same protocol. So that was kind of cookie cutter and straightforward. And JTP is actually, car looks the same, but it's a different car. Faster, lighter. And some of the stuff that he does in chase position kind of gets him in trouble. But, dude, his chases, well, we'll say the first chase.
Are you referring to JTP here? Okay, yeah. Because I was watching the when they were like I was actually listening. I'm building my FD car while listening to FD in the background. So I wasn't really watching, but I was listening when they were saying, like, you know, they were saying JTP does this thing where, like, when it works great, and he kind of like you can explain that. But I'm about to botch it up, but you know, you already know what I'm about to say right there. But
his rate to angle, and it's something we joked about. So we were Top Drift Pro-Am, like I was, think in 2011 or 12. So I think Taka he grabbed a Rust-Oleum bottle or Rust-Oleum aerosol can, and so as he's explaining, I want you guys to get rate to angle. I want you to flick rate to angle, right? And so we were joking around like, put Rust-Oleum on it, right? So Justin and I always joke about that. Be like, are you coming with the Rust-Oleum though? And so that stuck, right? So that stuck with me as a driver. That's Justin's already doing his thing, but it because I always am around joking about it, it never leaves his brain. And so when he's setting up the Mustang for his comfortable driving style with that long wheelbase of that car, and the width and the grip that it has, dude, it makes it so comfortable, because I've said this before, he's a one-hand driver. When he's comfortable, he's one-handed. When he's kind of in a weird predicament, he goes two hands. So, dude, those transitions, and it makes it look so cool, because, you know, you're following a guy in, and he's sideways, and when he goes, you know, you're deep door to door. When he goes to transition and you back off, but you beat him to angle and you're right back inside, way too cool looking. When you're looking at it, and then the aerial view that they're using from the drone, and you can see that rate to angle, and it makes it look, for everybody that's rooting for him, you're nervous about it, because you're like, he's going to spin. Nope, he didn't spin. amazing. You know, crowd goes crazy. Judges are like, holy shit, that was tight. And it could have saved your run if you didn't hit the right spots coming up to that portion, you know. So sometimes it bites him. It ended up biting him in the one more time. But, you know, it's dope to see that get put forth in driving. You know,
it's dope. To me is I respect it because there's a lot of guys that are. I know a lot of guys here in Japan that they have pro license, they compete here and there, but they refuse. It's like they listen to the judge like yeah, I'm gonna go and do this shit. And it's like, and that's the cool thing is like he's gonna drive his style no matter what. If he wins on that, great. If he doesn't, great. It's like that's still he's not gonna abandon what works for him because what it comes down to is fans. If you start seeing rounds is going by the judges, it's more of a robotic feel. Of course, you got to hit the points. You got to do what the judges want for that track because that's what a lot of guys out there you might not know is generally before every event there's a little bit of there should be a little bit of hey we want you to get out here or initiate here or you should be sideways way before this point and you'll see if you look there's actually I don't know if FD does it but D1 now does it at BSU where for the first rounds they'll have a little box and your wheels should be in that box. Center is great.
Yeah.
On a line in the back is kind of you going over. If you in front of it you're off. So you want to be right in that pocket, and then generally by the time the rounds get deep, there's already tire marks right there to put where you want to be at. So there's points and cues if you guys watch out there that you'll see on the track, maybe in the first rounds where you'll see a mark or cone or something, and you should be already sideways by that point. You have to be to start your drift. If you play video games, you know if you go fucking sideways after the cone, you're not gonna get those points because the game picks up when if you're drifting before Lex right here, he's one of the best guys in the Gran Turismo. You're already sideways if you enter the cones. You're already getting max points. That ticker's going up like this. So if you start in the middle, they be like, nah, we're gonna slow that shit down and give you like 100 points for that drift. But you know, it's cool, man, to see that you know he has his style. He'll do that. So it's like. Again, I don't know JTP personally. You know him, and it's like to that point, it's like guys are driving for a different thing, man. It's like it's a different. Everybody has a different reason to drive, and his reason for driving is different from somebody else's reason for driving. But it's cool to see that he maintains his personal style.
And something that never gets fully explained, or actually it never gets explained, honestly, because it's only something that they talk about in driver's meeting. So in driver's meeting, they'll explain where they want cars to be positioned and how they're positioned, right? So you'll see they'll put it up on the board, and this always gets people in a flurry, right?
Right.
The people say, "Oh no, so and so should have won that." But technically, no, because they explain it in a driver's meeting. So when they have the two cars going into entry, they'll say, this, no. This, no. If this is the lead car, they want you like this. They'll say that this is a deduction. Doesn't matter how close it is. If you're like this, big gap, that's the same as being like this. That's a deduction. If you're like this, cool. If you're up forward, that's kind of tough because we're going to watch that because what happens when you're this far forward? When a guy transitions, you're going to get like what happened with Osbo and Matt Field round 2.
Right, and then in the transition you get boom,
and it's Osbo's fault. Doesn't matter how, it looks insane. Matt went here to there. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So it's positioning that they like, that they don't like, that's what they want to see. So given when the driver has that confidence to swing his car in on entry, real quick flick to angle and then get that proximity, that looks amazing. And it looks good for production when you're looking at it on camera. It looks good to the judges and it looks good to the crowd. So I'm glad to see that guys are using the level of grip that they have and guys that are, really taking the risk. Because, dude, when you're entering in straightaway, which is we know drag cars have quick 0 to 60 and all of that, but drift cars are drag car fast,
right?
So they're launching like a drag race and they're entering at 80 miles an hour in like 500-600 feet. So you're not only dealing with the element of boom, 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 and then as you're grabbing gears, quick chuck just to sit, and dude, there's nothing like sitting full throttle in that outer zone where they're like this far from the dirt, and then chuck it sideways to get a touch and go that's going up towards. We know tires are the worst thing to hit. You hit them, they fold under your car and pick your car up. You're going towards that, and then circling out to another high speed direction change, and it's nutty. So this could kind of lead us into the next person, but when you're a vet at that, I got this. Let me do what I do. If you're nervous about your car setup, kind of in your brain like, okay, because you're kind of walking through it too much. I'm gonna go. I think third gear was great for me. If I do fourth, I'm going a little too fast. So let me handbrake in. There's too many cautions that are thrown in your head that you're thinking what's going to affect your performance. And when you're an absolute rookie stepping in with pro dudes, then it's just kind of like, let me just see how this works. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, man, that definitely is there, man. So then, like I said, like I said before, so round one, because we touched on LZ being the rookie with a lot of hype behind it and everything, being the YouTube sensation and all that stuff like that. So his first round, I believe, he went against he was knocked out by Forsberg. So it's like that's like to kind of correlate to guys who don't know what we're talking about. That's kind of like I guess coming up from I don't know, man. You coming up from Pop Warner to not needing Pop Warner. That's an insult. But coming from high school, and then like you're going 1-on-1 with like say like you're in the backfield and the guy on the other side is Ray Lewis right in the game. Like you're just right. And you got Lawrence. You got one of the biggest, baddest defensive guys standing in the middle of the field. Like, hey, come up my gap. I got you.
Yeah. There's a world famous phrase from the biggest car movie in the world. You don't step in the ring with Ali just because you box. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You're stepping into the world of pro series drifting with the oldest standing seasoned vet in U.S. drifting.
Right.
And he arguably has one of the baddest damn cars on the planet. Nerd stuff, wheelbase Z that he has, proper. Engine that he has, VR38 in that thing, sits back far enough that the weight distribution, proper. 1,200 horsepower on a big old tire, and the car is super light. And you're coming in, that's your first battle as a pro?
Yeah, that's hard, man. That's rough, man. And that's a thing, man. It's like, it's not, I mean, when it's Osbo Forsberg season, blah, 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 let's get it done. But when you got a big gap like that, not in, I want to say build wise, but just experience, man. You can't.
The experience.
That takes a long time to bridge that. And I'm going to even put my myself out there because it's easy to talk on somebody. It's like, dude, I'm confident in my skills. I can show up and rock up and drift anywhere, get a few laps, grip laps, and then go into the slide. You can do the same thing. We got the skills to do that. But there's a difference, man, where I don't care how mentally strong you are. It's like, if I know that's fucking Chris Forsberg across from me right there. And it's like, and it's like I know my skills and confidence, but there's a difference in like that. If it goes and runs out, he has more ability. He has more.
Yes, that's exactly it. And I think that's where the commenters and the trolls go too far left.
Right.
In the comments, because it does not mean that Adam's not good. It does not mean that he doesn't have car.
And they pointed it out themselves because they were saying over and over in that stream because that shit goes like this when he got on there.
Yeah.
And then it's like then the guys have dropped a super chat. But it was like Adam looked good. Yeah, Adam looked good in practice. Adam looked good in practice. You could just tell when you read it's like these guys don't understand. It's solo, dude. There's no pressure. It's just you.
So imagine it like this, right? Let's just talk sports. You're a college, you're a high school football player. Ooh, you hype, right? Everybody around you is about your age, maybe about the same build. Maybe somebody might hit hard, but hey, you ain't gonna find out unless you get hit, right? Then you go to college and dudes is hitting a little harder, but you still kind of like, oh yeah, I'm not intimidated. you go to the league and you're in the locker
crowd
room and you're ready. But now you're hearing the crowd roaring when you're coming out of the tunnel, and then you step out on that field and you're like, oh my God, right?
Yeah.
And then you line up. Let's say you start. You didn't sit and watch any of the game. You ain't seen how the flow of the game's going. You get there and you line up.
Straight in the mix.
And it's man-mans across from you. You know what I mean? You see blood got striations and rips everywhere. His jersey don't fit. And he's
everybody look like The Rock.
You. He's going to hit you. He's going to kill you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of like how I figure it's not that Adam's not prepared. It's not that he's not mentally ready to tap into whatever talent he has. And it's not like his car wasn't ready. But it's the experience that he doesn't have yet.
Right.
He drives a lot, right? So me, like when I was doing Pro-Am, I drove over 26 events a year, right? And I did that for many years straight. Then I could jump into Pro-Am, and I wasn't quite like, I was good, but I didn't care, right? Like I didn't care about going pro. I only had one goal to go Pro-Am All-Stars so I could drive Rd1 with people from all over the place. When they canceled Pro-Am All-Stars, I was like, yeah, forget about it, right? I didn't cut my competition teeth too sturdy, right? So then when I go drive all these fun events, people are like, man, you got it, dude. You got it. You in this car, you got it. But I have experience doing that. But then when it comes back to, say, if I jump in competition and somebody got a little bit more up their sleeve than me.
Little tricks and little things that you don't pick up. Like
just be off guard once or twice.
Right. And that's again we kind of is bringing up relatable things to guys there who don't know. But you look at Daigo's rookie season in FD, there was a lot like Daigo already had a lot of experience in D1 GP. Other
like,
places.
When did Daigo come in? Was he 2005 or something?
Into FD?
No, into D1.
I think it was before. It was around about 05, because he made that. He made the when some of the first guard guys, because it's 03. Well, not 03. It started before that.
He was still in with the OGs with Taniguchi and everybody.
He was like the young guy. He was the young guy to the
original.
Who's goddamn man. I'm going blank this moment time.
Taniguchi, Kazama. He was
Koguchi,
the young boy with all of them. You know,
they were up there already. They're already good.
FD as a rookie. But Sun already had like 10 years or more because D1 drivers at that point in time always had a little age on them, so they've been doing the thing. But yeah, he comes in as a rookie, so it's not like that kind of Adam's not that kind of rookie,
right? You know I mean, and what I was saying about Daigo, because guys, like, of course, he was like, well, he's doing the little tactics, and I'm like, dude, people they were so mad at the second Japanese invasion, you know what I'm saying? That it was like they were like, he's brake checking this and brake checking that, and then like of course JTP had a situation with him and stuff like that, and it was like more it was this a sensor overload because he's coming in with all these tactics, which he's like he knows the rules and he might not understand English fully, but he knows, dude. One thing the experience that he has is like he knows no matter what his style is. If he wants to win and game the system, he's gonna do what the judges say.
Yes.
A little bit like maybe the breaking, and that's why I believe FD I don't know if it's now like that, but they had the LED to show your brakes, so they can see when you're.
Mm-hmm. So, but now they went to the rim, the spoke or the tire.
Okay, yeah, right, and then also to kind of jump a little out of the thing, there is the can output. Is that showing? Is that only what is that showing for the? I guess everybody needs an output to show if they have any traction control and stuff like that.
Yeah. If a situation like that comes up, they just pull up, plug in, and they see your pedal position off TPS, all of those little inputs. So it just pulls a log, your stuff. So let's say throttle position. Well, let's not say throttle position. Let's just say pedal position, actual pedal position. Is a certain way because we all know TPS on OBD cars, you could have your pedal to the floor and only have like 80% throttle.
Yep.
So those will pull and they'll pull and see that and then be like, oh, well, he had 80% throttle right under the nitrous switch on. But why was nitrous blowing at this time via the engine management? And then all of a sudden it tapered back, but the pedal position stayed the same.
Right.
You got some tomfoolery going on,
Right.
So
and what guys on there don't mechanical guys don't know. Like for example, there's cars that have like you look at a VVTi. Even though I don't know these guys running this stuff, you got a VVTi 1JZ which has a mechanical throttle body with an electronic choke. So like that's how they did the TRC traction control. So like that's like, I mean, I'm pretty sure they popped the hood and seen like, you got two fucking butterflies, dude. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but they're just trying to, you know, get into a thing because F1 been doing it for years where they want to see if guys got AIDS. And then we've seen cases and points where a team did fucking awesome the year before, and when they put that rule in, all of a sudden they're not good. They're not good anymore. That's like when the UFC started testing for steroids, everybody who was kicking ass became this small and then stopped losing a lot.
No knockouts, yeah.
Right. It's like that. That shit's the regulations, man. It's put in there to even the playing field and things like that. Kind of going back to the Pro2, where he's like, "Hey, all y'all gonna run comfort hards in here, so just get used to it, or we'll give you comfort mediums and shit." Guys, we know we're talking about Gran Turismo. So you're going to room like everybody's running comfort hards here. If you don't like it, leave. It's like,
really. Deal with it or deal without it, you know?
So but the rules and regulations are there to kind of make it more closer and everything, man. So again, round one, we kind of like, we beat that up. So round two, running into that, we had the results were Chelsea Denofa, Odi Bacchus again, and then Ryan Turek. So pretty much they flip-flop the spots and everything. And then again, like you called it before, Odi shows up ready to rock. Ryan's always right on there or right off the podium. So those guys is automatic. And then, I mean, it's just like, you know, Denofa, man, again, pointing that out, man, he kind of, you know, I'm kind of waiting to see. I don't know if he does any social media stuff, but it would be cool to hear him talk about what he probably can't talk too much because the settings is kind of, you know, not secrets, but
yeah.
You know, you don't want to put your stuff out there.
You know, and you don't want to give up your advantage.
Right. So they probably not going to compare what was wrong and what was the change.
Well, eventually, so me and my boy, man, we watch this stuff real time, and we'll be bouncing back and forth because he's knowledgeable about it. I've got some knowledge, so we'll both be looking, and we're looking at round one like, damn, Denofa car seems slow. You know, it's like it's not hooking. It's not loose, but it's not hooking, and it seems slow. Engine RPM sounds different, everything. Now, technically, I think how their cars are set up, and it's an assumption because we don't know their settings, but their cars look to have the most grip when they have screaming wheel speed. When they have a ton of wheel speed, and round one, you didn't see any wheel jacking, you didn't see any three-wheeling, no huge squats. That's how you just kind of knew, like, is that car on autopilot? Round two, all of a sudden he's at the line, purging nitrous, goes in and chucks the glory out of that car on the first outer zone. And what do you see? Wheels hiking and back end squats. It's like, oh, he showed up today. You know what I mean? I don't know what the call was yesterday to today. They're over there joking around, talking about, oh, he's in the RTR. And I don't know if this was a snub or if he was just, because his thing is get rowdy. He's like, I'm in the ready to rowdy, not in the ready to rock. I'm ready to rock. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, he just came through with more car, which seemed on par with the amount of car that he's always came with. Just round one the day before, seemed kind of iffy. And this is why I really like this format, round one, round two, same weekend, because you are that fresh from what didn't go right.
In your mind,
literally yesterday. This is a whole nother situation that counts. I'm changing this, and we're going to do better. And you see immediate results literally 24 hours after you had not so good of a result. So I like that portion because it makes it more competitive. I think that we're going to see guys that are going to, let me try something. It didn't work out, but I'm coming on kill tomorrow. So you might see dudes that don't do great and then do amazing the next round. And I think that's how the season's going to go. Somebody's going to come through, do something, and it's just the guy that comes ready with the best setup and the best mindset with the best control. They're probably going to walk through. As far as I understand, following the rules that the judges are setting in briefings, they're going to walk through and have a stellar season, because not only are the weekends so close together month to month, but the rounds are days apart, back to back.
Yeah, man, that's dope, man. Like from that aspect, man, of like seeing the changes you want to make, and again, you're a driver too, so you can relate to it. It's one of those things where now when every time I drive, there's like that. It's like things happen, and then you're like, man, I would never do that again. And you kind of that's what we were talking about, that seasoning that Forsberg and all those guys have. They've made those mistakes. Forsberg wasn't always that dominant guy that we know when he first started out and everything. Well, actually, I mean, I'd say that, but then I remember seeing a dude at fucking Wall, New Jersey into the first. I went to the first Wall, New Jersey event, and he was killing it back then. But still, at that point, I wasn't even amateur drifter. I was a poser, so everything looked cool back then. But then again, you can look back on events, you see the proximity is the background does look cool as shit, man. The proximity is off and stuff like that, and it's just that time, man, that seasoning that you get, man. It's like, man, I won't do this, don't do that, till you mentally don't make those mistakes, and then you're just at that level where it's James Dean, consistent performance, and when you can do that consistently, that's where the guys podium them much, because they consistently do the right things. They do what the judges are asking, and the other guy, doesn't matter who it is. At that point, they're both Ali in the ring right there.
Yeah.
Ali versus Frazier right there is like one of these guys are going to win, one of these guys are going to lose, and it might. I mean, you don't see too many draws in boxing, but I mean, it's like you get, that's what the one more time is for. But you'll see that, and then like a guy like Denofa, we know he's been in the game a while, more infamous for the BMW, switched over. And but still maintain that thing right there, man. And again, like you say, to make adjustments in the last round, then go to the podium in the next round. That's pretty dope, man.
Top step too.
Yeah,
which was cool. Yeah. So if you look at like the Denofa versus Matt Field battle, in St. Louis,
a little bit of contact.
Yeah, but if you look at their exact battle in St. Louis, I think it was a year before or 2 years before, when Denofa came through flat throttle. Through the initiation, car went backwards, and Matt stuck right in on him. It was the same thing. It was literally a repeat, different track layout, but it was a repeat of the same vibe. The guy went in, Denofa pitched straight 90 instantly, full outer zone, full throttle, fully committed. Matt Fields bops right in and sits there. One of the closest proximity grabs back after transition. It was just gnarly to see. And when you see dudes that are gladiators behind the wheel do something like that, that's what makes these rounds so exciting. That's what makes it like, okay, that was memorable. You could probably recall other battles in your head, but when somebody asks you that battle, you could instantly, this is what happened. He initiated right there. Matt pulled in. Oh, man, they were making a ton of smoke. Transition back up. Matt gained right up on his door. It would almost look like they were going to make impact. And then they did make impact on the last one, but it's just like those are the super memorable battles. And again, the buy runs or whatever, the one more times or whatever, they had far less one more times the second day than they did the first day. But you kind of see the buy runs are a little weird, because it's just like whatever, let's just get the show rolling, get it out of here, and get back to the business. But you kind of think like, oh man, Daigo didn't show up. That would have been cool. Oh, I didn't hear no rotaries. Kyle Mohan wasn't there. I don't know if he would have won or done anything, but it would have been cool to see. So you start kind of counting out who's not there. You're looking at the brackets. You're looking at the trees. Which driver you're really rooting for? What's their battle system look like on this side of the trees? What's the other guy that you feel like is gonna make the advancement all the way through on this side of the trees? And you just kind of see where it matches up. So in round 2, when it came to the point that Matt Fields took Osbo out instantly off of a technicality, it was like, oh crap. Well, that's crazy, because he can't repeat the results from yesterday, because he just got taken out because he crowded Matt. The lead driver always has the space to move around all they want.
Right.
The base driver has to stay on this side of the run-up. Let's say, the lead's coming out of here, and he has to allow that driver any space he wants, but then he can close in. And he just went door to door, which is aggressive. We like to see that. But if that lead driver does something crafty, not saying Matt did something crafty, but if he decides to, he has the freedom to do that. And your position didn't allow it. Boom, hit, you're out. You know what I mean? You're out of there. Yeah. And as bad as it looks to the crowd that doesn't understand that or doesn't know that, that just is what it is, you know. So,
they do a good job of the announcers explaining it. But I think there needs to be because they're at that level where it'll be cool for somebody getting in and they'll drop a link instead of kind of repeating themselves, because they know, the judges know, we know when we're watching it. Again, it's like a vet. It correlates to everything, sports, fighting, everything, because when you're watching UFC or football or whatever, and you actually made it to a significant level of that thing, you know why the guy is doing this or taking a time out there or freezing it or doing whatever, versus the unfortunately the mass majority are not. They just want to be entertained. They just want to sit in the Coliseum and watch dudes get their nuts cut off and everything, and they don't know what led up to that. That dude is highly trained, but it just wasn't his day. He got his head cut off, but and any other day he'll be the dude cutting other guy's head off. So it's like, that's what people don't see. They see like, you know, it's the same car, same guys every week, different results. It's like, because it's different variables, and you can have again Matt, Phil, and Denofa battle 20 times and it'd be a different result. You know, 10 out of 5 or 10 out of 10 or whatever for the results and everything, man. So it's cool for people to see. But if they could have a practical example of like, this is why he lost, or kind of do a breakdown showing like the top 8, you know, so it doesn't go too long. Like, this is why this guy progressed, so that way people would understand. Like, I mean, I knew the exact thing with Osbo and Phil, but most people that they like, well, it looked cool, but you know they don't know what's going on and everything.
Or they'll be in the chat, Matt Phil swerved at him on purpose.
Yeah, swerved.
You know,
he's like, motherfucker, we're in traffic, like going to work, like nobody swerves. They're both going sideways at 120 mile per hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, imagine that, and both the cars have a stance that's sitting out wide. What if Matt went at him, rear wheel turning this way, and front wheel of Osbo's turning this way? When those come together, boop, you got an airborne car. You know what I mean? So, that's not the risk that I think they were willing to take, that they wanted to take. I just think that's just what happened. But we know the comment section is out of control. Like,
I mean, they're talking about, it's just I don't even read it.
Adam LZ literally brought 15,000 onlookers to the live stream. 15 grand.
Yeah.
Like round one, when he got booted out, and the people that were there saw him get booted, ended his fans. It went from 37,000.
You get to see it. You can watch it live.
Start plummeting. When Adam went out, 15,000 people left. And then you got people in the comments going crazy, and then you have the casual Adam fans that aren't drift fans, and they see on his Instagram, oh, it's Formula D today. What's that website? FormulaDorifto.com? They don't know, So they finally find their way to the site, and it's later in the battles. Has Adam gone yet? And then it's like the regular dudes is like, nerd, get out of here. He been lost, But it's just like that. That's how you get those onlookers, and you got casual fans, you got people that don't know anything about it, but they're fans of a driver that may have a good social media presence that he posts about, and then they pop in just trying to check out, where's my man's at? I just came here for my man's,
Right.
And you've got a lot of onlookers that may or may not know about drifting, but they know they want to be entertained by something that looks pretty cool, and this looks cool. Not everybody can drive like this. It's a selected few, and it's a selected few that are the best in the world at it. So, speaking on Adam again, he got to go again. Another tough
Osbo. It's like, dude, you go right from goddamn, you go right from like lining up like next to fucking Ray Lewis to like now like we're gonna give you Lawrence Taylor now.
Yeah,
It's like, God damn,
literally.
dude. It's like
You went from a a a, a samurai
yeah,
to a ninja. Well, they're
yeah,
both highly skilled killers.
yeah.
They're just on two different sides of the force, you know, and
Still, both got knives.
both gonna chop your head off, and he got his wig split. But
Yeah.
I will say he put them dukes up on his lead run.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah,
looked
yeah, yeah.
solid.
He showed it.
It looked
Yeah,
really
and
good.
that again, I watched that. You know, again marketing, man. Let's I when they mentioned his name, I was working on my engine. Then I heard you know, Adams up against Oswald, so I immediately put the tools down, went over there to my screen, my little thing in there, and it's like I'm a shop owner in Japan, and I'm like let's see what's up. So it's like me, the person in me, man, the being in Japan, dude, being a shop owner and still being like, when I go places other than when I meet motherfuckers, still being look at it like the underdog, like who's this guy? I'm like, motherfucker, it don't matter what the level you think. I mean, I got a shop, you work at a convenience store. You know what I'm saying? So they, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, look, man, it's like my thing. Like again, I don't never talk to Adam before. Maybe I can arrange to speak to him or whatever. But it's like, man, I'm rooting for the dude because I want to see I want to see the dude do well because I know when you're successful, motherfuckers just for no reason just hate you, man. They just hate you.
Want to see
no
you
fucking
fail.
no reason. Like, man, fuck this dude, man. I'm like, dude, you ain't even watched none of the dude's fucking videos. Like, I mean, like,
right,
you don't know the guy.
Or you don't
and then
support him. You just want him to see failure.
Yeah, and then to make you feel good because you're a fucking loser. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, dude, like, okay, I got another loser. Like, nah, actually not. He still, those 32 guys there was 1,000 dudes, myself included, not there, not in the lineup and everything. So whatever, they're all, in my book, they're all winners, man, you know, so to speak. But anyway, man, it's like when he took off and everything, I'm like, all right, shit, here he goes. And then he got this, you know, it kind of flat spun it. That right there is just straight up nerves, man. Because he did that run.
Yeah.
That's his nerves, man.
Right. I mean, because think about it. Again, like I was talking about the smoke, right? So he's driven against guys that make smoke in clutch kickers and a couple of those other events, but those are real short tracks.
Right.
You're sitting in smoke for hella long. You cannot see where else you need to go. And you're thinking to yourself, oh, I'm going really fast. Let me bounce back the other way real quick. And then you're like 70 feet to 100 feet short.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just kind of, without dealing with that much smoke before on that long of a distance, the lack of experience got him. But I'm glad.
And again, he knows. I mean, he obviously knows well who Osbo is, man. And it's like one of those things where you have to again kind of referencing NASCAR and F1. All those guys in that grid knows.
You know
who the guys are.
Yeah.
So when you're bopping along and you just took over a couple of guys and then you look out to your left and you go, oh fuck, that's Jeff Gordon right there.
Yeah.
That mental like that's part of the game to be able to block that out. To be able to phase out that mental part of it and everything and make sure like you can just focus on driving, because if you can't, then it's like, you know, I don't know, you know, again, you said the proximity, the smoke, he came up short, he initiated or did whatever he did. You got to be able to mentally kind of like block that out and everything, man, and do that, man.
The amount of comments polarizing, both good and bad, on either side of the mix for Adam LZ, and plus having the social media impact that he has, which is, I mean, arguably is greater than Formula D itself.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Without a doubt.
You know, guys have their pits set up, and I don't think anybody's pits is shaking like LZ's pits is shaking.
Yeah.
You know, it's a constant, consistent flow all day, hanging around for pictures, buying merchandise. There's a reason Mans has a grind like that. And, you know, the regular average Joe who's just hating because it's a popular thing to hate on Mans about, they honestly, Doug, if you just sit back and watch, Mans works hard. He's got a solid business model. He's working at being a driver. This is a person that wasn't really a career driver. He just did it for fun. But then he was like, you know what? I'm taking to this pretty good. I like it. And I'm here. And for the purists that don't want to admit it, we're going to have more of that in this sport. If you go on YouTube, every little vlogger has a car claiming that they got a drift build.
Yeah.
Little scooter dude, Tanner Fox, he ain't got no bars, but he claims he got a drift build. He has an S14. His plan is to drift. You know what I mean? You got all the Funk brothers or whoever those dudes are. I just come across them when they're on other people's vlogs. They're drifting a lot. So, to like it or not, from all over the country, not just California, not just Florida, not just Texas, not just everywhere, we may get dudes coming from Japan sending cars out.
The social media, man, it's people, I guess they want to, especially the older guys, they want to, nah, it's not a thing. Like, dude, it's a thing, and it's going to be a thing forever for the rest of the time. And it's like the dudes so now you got the guys who, they've been in the game for a little bit, I'm out of breath and shit. They got the guys who've been in the game, and they're like, nah, man, I don't need that shit. Then when they do it, they seem all awkward and shit. And it's like people, if it ain't natural.
Hella awkward,
yeah.
Right?
So going back
like
to
Ryan Turek vlogs.
Yeah.
Turek has a vlog.
Yeah.
Super awkward.
Yeah. And it's like, so you be a badass driver, but then like you don't have that thing it naturally comes and everything, and
that connection,
right?
Literally that thing.
So it's kind of like I don't know. I mean, I watch a bunch of different podcasts. So Garth Brooks is like getting a thrashing on because he's just like he got on the social media thing, but then he calls it out. Yeah, I'm gonna try the social media stuff out there, like, you know, like, dude, like, don't even mention it, just do it. Like you're just telling the people that you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Most of that shit scripted or whatever, and then people don't. That's why when I do these podcasts right here, we didn't do any pre-meet. Like, hey man, you're gonna say this, I'm gonna say that. We just press recording. Like, hey man, what's up? And we start talking.
Yeah.
Ain't no behind the scenes like pre like, hey man, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's get up. Like firing each other up, slapping each other in the face and shit. Like, nah, dude, we just go because you're naturally. Like I could tell when I meet you, man, it's gonna be the same energy, man. Because it's like you could tell people who got that same energy versus the guys who, when you meet them, you like, nah, man, I thought you were fire, man, but you're actually pretty boring and shit. You know,
so there's a lot of people that are like that on YouTube, man.
Yeah,
there's some dudes that's like, I
yeah,
thought you portrayed.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I kind of, with my little platform, it's cool because people be like, yo, he's the same dude, you know, that and the third. It's like, you gotta be. And that's kind of what I think is bringing, you know, Adam has a certain draw. So not only is he relatable and likable on camera, you know, he seems like, as far as my experiences, when I met him a few times at events, he and I sit and shop, like I said before, after Winter Jam one year, it's freezing. And Cuz chilled, talked with me for like 2-3 hours in the middle of the night, freezing. And he's just a chill dude. And he has a good, relatable base. People support him. They buy his products. Whatever he's offering, they cop him. And it's something Formula D could pay attention to. It's something other drivers, they're getting to see it firsthand, right? So as they're getting to see it firsthand, if I wanted to extend my relatability, my likability, my likeness, make myself progress further into the new world that is going to eventually be Formula D with my social media, I'm going to holler at him. Honestly, yo, I'm so-and-so vet driver. Let me show you my tips and tricks from what I've experienced through these years. In return, you tell me the cameras to buy. You tell me, you know, kind of how to do this vlog thing. Set me up with an editor if your editor knows some people so that I could just, you know, I've already got a busy schedule. Show me how to make this work. And that's what I would be doing. I'd be like, Adam, what's up, cuz? He's obviously going to know who you are because he's coming into this world looking at guys as something to aspire to.
Right.
So he knows who you are.
Yep.
So just don't big dog him like, little little motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because you don't.
He's going to be the future of your sport if he stays.
Because the thing about it with him, he has the biggest thing we always hear, man, is why you see Werfhaus dropped out, and then like guys like Sicky dropped out and things like. I don't know the Werfhaus story, but Sicky was James Evans was like, dude, the return on investment is just not there.
It's low. ROI is low.
It's low. So like, but with him, his shit's just growing and growing and growing and growing and growing, and then he enters FD, growing and growing and growing. Like the money for him, only for LZ, the money for him is not gonna be a problem. That's not. I mean, honestly, you look at the time frame, man. Like from him start. I mean, actually, like, I didn't know he was at a B Street, and I didn't know until I was leaving.
Every year. Yeah.
So I didn't. I knew. I seen this guy, and I seen like I mentioned last time, a bunch of guys following around. I'm like, man, I'm doing my thing. I'm always almost by myself. So then people point out, oh, that's LZ, and I was like, all right, cool. But I mean, I wasn't gonna run up to him and
and that's kind of how we do,
right?
As
right.
I mean, we're by ourselves because you're everything. You're changing wheels and tires by yourself, working on your car by yourself. Right. You're trying to what run group is it?
Yeah.
So you're when you're by yourself, you're doing a lot of things, and that's why kind of myself, the blessing of me having Sonoma Drift the way I have it, bro. I'll drive tomorrow. Let me help run the event and get people around, or I'm a person of contact, so people will come, high profile people will come and they'll say, oh, hey, go find Lex, and he'll kind of bounce you around, and then they come find me, and oh yeah, woo, woo. So now they're kind of more or less familiar with me, and I'm gonna take the opportunity. Yo, what's up? Oh yeah, I'm familiar with you. Yeah, woo, woo. And I plug my son put me on to you. You know what I'm saying? Because my son is the future of the sport, and I want them to be familiar with him,
Right.
So it's like I get to do that kind of stuff and then not too much worry about driving. And then when I do jump in the car, then they see me shredding, they be like, oh, because that's kind of how I went with Adam. With Adam, it was like I reached out to him. I didn't know that our organization would reach out to him as well. So we both reached out at the same time. He's like, yep. And so he's familiar with me already. He's at the event. He comes, finds me. We kind of chop it. I give him a car to drive, and then we just kind of chop it from there. But I pop out and I drive for like a quick couple minutes, and I wreck shop and I go sit back and chill. So he got to see me drive for a little bit, but then it was when we show up at Super D together. Oh, what's up? So we already got rapport, and people are looking like, oh shit, Adam, he's smiling and high fiving, and he's happy to see you. I'm like, oh yeah, because a couple months ago we just standing out in the dark for 3 hours chopping game on human relatable level, and then when we see each other, it's like, oh, what's up, all love, and then we drive, or maybe we don't get to drive together. But the fact is, while I got one of the loudest cars out there, so when I rip, it's kind of like, oh, we all as drivers, we know it's like, yo, that's a rotary, or oh, that's a RV, or oh, that's a this, that's a that. And so it's like, oh, he's shredding, he's ripping. So then you kind of have that mutual understanding that we're shredders, what's up, it's all good. And then when you see a guy go into the Pro Series, and it's like, yo, I want him to do well because he's the new element of this sport. Right, he's a vlogger. He had enough money to jump into it, and enough determination to get good with it. Then not only get good with it, build a program behind it. Not only build a program behind it, build a stylish, appealing looking car. And dude is down to earth, so he's working with dudes that he met through the Super D event and met through his travels when he went to Ebisu. So he's using his resources from his relationships, Yashio Factory, and Michael that did his liveries. These are relationships that he has. You know what I'm saying? That he kept in his back pocket, and when it was time, it's time. Hey, I'm doing Super D things. What's up? Not Super D things. I'm doing Formula D things. What's up? I want to work with you. I want to work with you. Let's build on my platform and do work. So, dude, he's a business professional that lives his life in front of a camera, and people just get the opportunity to hate. They get the opportunity to hate. It doesn't mean that it's going to go anywhere, but then that's when you get the chat box full of bullshit, which then makes a fan like myself. Well, I turn the chats off. I don't want to see.
Yeah, I don't even. Yeah, that's one thing too. I'll look at that shit for a couple of seconds, but then it's like it be going so that shit again. Like we said, when you get on there, that shit just like a a fucking teleprompter with a speed on 2000.
Yeah,
that shit be like, you can't read that. So it's like, I put my statement. I'm like, dude, nobody's seen your shit and they're not going to see it. Even when they replay it, it's going to go the same speed. So like, I turn it off because it makes the fucking screen bigger. And you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's also like for your internet connection, guys, or you don't know, if your shit's slow or whatever, that chat thing is another taking up bit rates. So just turn that shit off and just get the video or whatever. But yeah, man, it's with that, man. Like I say, man, I'm pretty sure. I mean, if I reach out to his contacts, whatever, I could probably get a conversation with him and just get inside his mind a little bit and things like that. But a guy like that, right after the round, he's probably still getting the fallout from the guys like hitting him up and trying to cheer him up or whatever. I don't think he said. It's just he knows it's a learning process, and I'm pretty sure he knew that going in. But the thing is, he's on that stage. I seen little jabs like, "Hey, he gonna be back in Pro 2 next year." Like, not really. I mean, because if you look at
not really. If you look, he scored points.
Right.
Believe it or not, he got points.
Right,
got points on the board.
Yeah,
all he has to do is just get 100 points to maintain.
Right,
or a top 16. I forget how it goes, but and then also think about this, right? He's a rookie.
Right.
Okay, he's got enough clout when Jared Gianda's talking about the series sponsors, NGK spark plugs, all of our drivers use those, or majority of our drivers use those spark plugs, including Adam LZ. They say shit about whoever else.
Yeah,
they mention Adam.
Yeah, man.
So you hating, but they know what side their bread's buttered on.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The series is saying, hey, that guy is of worth. Is of value. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He brought 15,000 eyes to the stream that we normally haven't had. Yeah, they know what the vibe is, No doubt. Seeing him go out with Oswald, man, no big deal. He took a heavy hitter. He showed some promise in his lead run. I guarantee you, Oswald got respect for him. After that run, Oswald was like, "Hey, that was not bad."
Yeah, because he could have just clammed up after that and had a horrible lead run. Because your lead run could be just as bad as
throwing paperwork. It's over.
No, he went there. He's like went back to home. Like let's like so it's like, all right, because that lead run is like, it is a chance to show, like you'll see where some guys you can see where they'll lead and follow is dynamite. Then you'll see some guys stronger. It's guys that are stronger followers. Not leaders, because leaders they're worried about, because as you said, the lead driver has a good amount of responsibilities, because if you're fucking out there in Wizard of Oz land, like the dude can't follow you out there. He shouldn't follow you out there. He's gonna be like, okay, go ahead, dude, and I'm gonna continue my practice run, because that's all it is. Yeah. So you have responsibilities as both lead and follower, and like that's what a lot of, again, the casuals, they don't understand that it's different. The reason why they do that flip flop, because it's an advantage. One guy, if he's better on both, he's gonna win. If he's strong on one or the other, that's where you get the one more time, because they both were kind of battling. For they had a mistake here, or straighten up, or the transition wasn't there, or wasn't tight, or like you said, he was ahead or behind, way behind. So different things there, man. To worry about and to do, man. But kind of getting off that, there's just some things where again you had to Matt, Phil, Denofa. There's still certain drivers again, even in Japan, where they had. Sometimes it lives up to it. Sometimes it doesn't. Like they had the 289, they had Daigo versus Kawabata, and they were like hyping it, and they was like, "This is gonna be it," and then it just really didn't.
At Ebisu?
Yeah, it didn't really go. Didn't
really work out, right?
Yeah, because they were like both badass drivers, both 890 Supras, but it just didn't really. Then you had every time it's like Daigo versus Nakamura, or now Nakamura versus Kohashi.
I was gonna say that Nakamura's back.
Yeah, they're like that right there. Everybody's like, dude, fuck that food. Like, let's watch this shit, because some shit's about to happen right here. Because every time Daigo and WitchCon battle, it's always a crazy fucking battle.
And then what happens? Yeah. Nakamura takes a short line and they go back.
And their battle is FD D1 whatever. It's like, okay, whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. The battle, we're gonna battle. So the battle goes. Daigo wins one, Nakamura wins one. Daigo wins one, Nakamura wins one. So it goes back and forth, man. And like I bring up, because my pro event, my pro debut, I got knocked out top 16 or whatever, and then I was watching a battle, and it was Daigo versus Nakamura. Nakamura had a borrowed car. It wasn't his car, a borrowed car, I think, from his girl. and Daigo had the 1,000 horsepower chop thing chaser or whatever, man. Signature Daigo shit. And from what I was told, Nakamura only had like 500 or 600 horsepower. But dude, I don't know what the fuck he did. Dude, he made Daigo shit look like Daigo was slower. Like he just maybe in the pit he pulled that fucking wastegate line off, like eat all the boosts, let's go, and told his dudes like, hey man, if I blow your shit, I got you. But that 500 horsepower in correlation to Daigo's confirmed 1,000 horsepower plus car, it didn't seem like there was no 500 horsepower gap, and that right there is the experience that Nakamura has. Where I talked to Mito, and he's like, Nakamura just doesn't give a fuck about what nobody else is doing but him. And when you get in that mindset, man, it's like you don't care about. He knows that's Daigo, cool. He's gonna run his line. He's gonna do what he's doing. He's gonna put his fucking door on your door, and he's gonna get it done. And that's how he does. And I guess, kind of saying that to say, like, for LZ, man, like that's gonna be one of those things where, I mean, it's gonna be hard not to think about those top 4 guys, but eventually he'll get to that point where he'll be like, all right, cool, Osmo, let's do it, But that's going to take that, like you say, cutting your teeth, and those. It's going to take more events, more losses, unfortunately, to get that to get that pedigree and to get that skill set, man.
She's seeing pictures on the news about how this place is looking, and she's like, "Yo, what the fuck? You didn't tell me the sky looks like it's on fire." I'm like, yeah,
still the right moments and everything, man. That's one. I've never been to Cali like that, man. Outside of like the airport, so it's like you got those. It seemed like you got those. It's like Cali and Miami got those days where that sunset is just like, it's just like that pinkish, reddish, like everything is good. Drop top in a Mercedes 190E or some shit, man. So like,
yeah. No, it's really like, it's really sunny. Everything's cracking. Everything's great. Man. But that's why she was tripping like, holy shit, because for her to see a picture of that where everything is red.
Out there too,
yeah, you see no sky. What the hell? She's like, are you guys evacuating? Because, my area is close to some of the areas that are affected and evacuating. But, yeah, so she just panicked. So I rarely ever get a call me now text. I'm a grown-ass man, dog. But she's bugging out. But all good. So yeah, seeing him take so getting to see Nakamura drive person. A lot of people that don't really technically break drifting down in their mind, they don't get it. They don't understand it. And he can do things with low horsepower cars on tracks that a lot of people aren't going to be able to do. It's going to be something, oh, dude, I didn't have this, I didn't have that. There's guys like Animal Style,
Julian Jacobs.
Yeah, he beats the hell out of cars because he wants every little bit about it. It's like a wash rag that you squeeze and twist to get every bit of moisture out of it. That's how he drives it, and Nakamura drives the same way. So I like to see them go up against people that have a lot of horsepower, a Daigo per se, because you did, and isn't the theory like, isn't Nakamura really like a country boy?
Yeah, he's I don't know him personally, man, but like the whole Japan
hillbillies basically.
It's the whole. You got Japan is I can tell guys from top to bottom, Okinawa all the way up to fucking Hokkaido. Japan is a farming country with like cities sprinkled in. That's what it is. So the Tokyo, the Osakas, the Sendais, they're just sprinkled into like a farm.
Gotcha,
That's it. So like right outside of that thing, man, like you go in Tokyo and you look down the street, you can see farm patches. So it's like that, man. So yeah, all technically everybody's like that. He don't live in a city, so he's up in there, man. So with him, man, it's just like you said, it's that thing where like a lot of guys they'll spend a lot of time building the car and then you don't necessarily want to break it. You just built it and shit. Don't give a fuck about it. Don't give a shit about it, man.
He dies.
Yeah. So they don't care at all about it, man. And like I pointed out because I did my breakdown for D1, the round 2 and 1 and 2 at WitchCon, where my local guy Masanori Kawashi was only 20 years old. He's won the last 4 rounds of the Bisu. He's 1-2 and everything, and so that's a never happened historically. But out there, one thing I noticed in the thing, man, even with Nakamura, because as much as he's an SR20, he's known for the SR20. Even he was like, well, I got to take this 2J in the battle because SR20 is kind of breaking a little bit too much. So like, dude, the whole 1 through results from round 1 and 2, there was all 2Js, and then Kawabata's 3UZ turbo. So that was
and
Toyota
that's cool shit to me.
Finish. Toyota
Finish.
like I mean, like D1 is all 2Js now. Wow. Daigo just like, hey man, if you want to do what I do, you gotta.
The RBs. Why are people faking on the RBs?
It's they just Daigo, man. Japanese follow with the top guy. So if Daigo switches tomorrow, gets RB26, change the oil pumps, not the thing. Yeah. So the RB, I run them. A few guys run them. Jake Jones run them. And we know the RBs is the oil dry, what you get extended, and the one little $5 part that saves it.
Yeah.
And it becomes like that same, but Daigo doesn't do it. So the way it runs here is they do only what the top guy does. They don't think for themselves. So if you look through, I mean, D1, dude, it's just like FD, I guess, is like, V8s or whatever, man. You just hear nothing but 2Js. So all the cars, S15s or 2Js. So the whole goddamn thing was there were S15s with a 2J, Daigo's 890 with a 2J, and then Kawabata's 890 with a 3UZ twin turbo. So that was like the thing, man.
Yeah.
It was this. So like Toyota and Yamaha sitting back like, yeah, man, we told y'all shit was good.
Yeah.
So
it
like,
took y'all long enough to respect.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So it's like, that's crazy to see, but what you see out there with a guy, again, casuals that are watching or even watching this or whatever, man, it's like you want to win, but you can't win. Like, you want to have your own style and do your own thing and things like that. But for a Pontiac Fiero is just not going to get it done.
Yeah,
in
the world of vets, that
Fiero
ain't going to make it work.
Yeah, it's just not going to get it done. So it's like you see the guys in the same chassis and the same engine because they work. And when you want to win, you're gonna have the setup that has the most reliability factor into it, man. So you can want to be different, but if you're not doing that, it's just kind of a little bit different there, man. So that's all it is with that, and people just gotta kind of realize that. And once they realize that, they'll understand. You can be different, but you gotta use the proven stuff, or you're just gonna have a hard ass pain time.
It is kind of hard to really like come in, develop something different, and then be not dominant, but just be successful at it. Like
right.
Papadakis with that kickball Corolla, using the 4-cylinder in it. It's a tough choice. 700 horsepower, right. Bleeding that 4-cylinder dry. Run some nitrous, try to get to the 1,000 horsepower mark, but you're injecting 300 additional horsepower into a 4-banger. Trying to hang with V8s, trying to hang with 2Js, trying to hang with anything anybody thinks of stuffing in their cars, and then
right.
rocking with it. But yeah, I mean, it's Pro Series isn't going to taper off anytime soon. It's going to get crazier. It's going to get nuttier. It's going to get faster. It's going to probably turn into I don't know, whatever, tube chassis, freaking drag tire used to get sideways series. Who knows? But I mean, sky's the limit with that. That's kind of why, like I say, I would like for certain guys to go into Pro2 and kind of hang there for a second and dominate it. Don't let it be an easy pass in the Pro1 after you get 63 points. Sit there and have a group of dudes that are the Forsbergs, the Osbos, the Turiks of Pro2. Hang around there, make it a dominant, legitimate series, a dominant footstep. Make it happen. Make it be a way through. Get guys that are in there to risk equipment, like a Ryan Littoral. Ryan Littoral is a Nakamura type.
Right.
He will. Hey, I'm gonna destroy it. As long as
if it like I said, if it dies, it dies. If it dies, it dies. If it makes it cool, right? Because what you don't want to do, man, with that stuff is like, and I speak on it because I've done it. I know I had like my diff is a little hurt, or trans is grinding a little bit. And when you're driving, you got to drive home. when you got the trailer, man, there's no reason why you shouldn't be putting the fucking pedal outside the goddamn car.
Yo,
like
that,
you know what I mean? You should
made
have
me
electric.
buy a trailer. When I was competing in Super D,
Yeah.
I used to flat tow my car because it looked cool. Oh, this cool shit. I put my car
Right.
all around, hanging off the back of my truck. Man, I went out there and Julian and a couple of the other homies was putting it on my door. My TEs were grinding. They were getting beat up. I said to myself after that first round, I got fourth that first round. I said, no, sir, I'm going to buy a trailer. I went and bought a trailer before the second round. And when I brought that car there on the trailer, when all the wheels didn't have to be pointing the same direction when I went home, I went ahead and got third place. And then I was like, all right, now I'm getting back in the mix. I'm getting used to the competition format and driving hard. Boom, second place. You know what I mean? It was just like it starts to get better. When you don't got to worry about, oh, let me put only this much equipment in my vehicle because this is all I could fit to drive there with this car. Nah, because you're worried about driving home. You might just be like, all right, I ain't finna go that hard on this round.
Exactly. And I've done it, man. Like, so guys are there saying, nah, man. I'm like, nah, dude, trust me. If you got to drive home, if you're in the right same mind, especially the shit's more than an hour away, like, man, you in your mind, you get the drift mind, like, that tow going to be 500. That shit's going to be this much. Like,
I don't want to run through all of my gas here because I'm going to have to fill up again to go. So you're thinking budgets, you're thinking of car safety, you're thinking of, it's too much to think about. And when you're a dude that pulls to the line that says, this is where the buck stops, you know, you're different. You're going to put it all on the line. You're going to drive it that much harder. I don't have to worry about driving it home. There's this dude, Samit. I guess he's like a underling of Yashio Factory. And so he's going into his first competition, and he's planning on driving his car up and competing and driving it back. And already, you're at a deficit. You're going to go compete. You're worried about having AC on the drive up. You're worried about how pretty the car is or whatever. You might get beat up. And you're going to have to figure out a way to get your car home because somebody might break it. You might break it. You might break an axle. You've been practicing on the car hard. You might blow your diff. There might be all kind of weird things that you've been, that ain't that big of a deal. This should be fine.
Nah, it's always that fucking thing that you're like, man, why did I leave that fucking wire home? Yeah. Always, man. You'd be like, you know you because you looked at it like, nah, I don't need it.
Hey,
you needed that shit. Work on it, you needed to. You've seen something like, or you be that guy because that's another cool thing to be that guy. And I've been that guy where I'll take miscellaneous shit like a coil pack, and it'll be the guy like, hey man, you got a coil pack? I'm like, yeah, I got 5, and you just toss through the coil pack and the thumbs up. Like, hey man, let's plug the shop. We good to go. And like I do shit like that, man, where I'll bring shit I know I'm probably gonna break and stuff that I know it's gonna be some rotary guys there, and you might need a trailing coil or some shit. And I got a fucking RB. Why the fuck I got trailing coils in my? Yeah. It's like I just bring random shit, man, and it's like that's part of the thing with drifting. I think no matter the competition, where guys still be like, hey man, take this axle or whatever, because everybody
kind of driving with
everybody,
homies, really.
Yeah, there ain't a drifter at that level that ain't been helped out. Like they just if you haven't. You probably are.
I was just gonna say, man. You're either that shitty dude of the scene, or you're just so standoffish you're shooting yourself in the foot. I mean, literally, I go to Winter Jam. We got it all set up, and I'm chilling. I'm having a blast. I don't have no need for it because all of my stuff is hard pipes. Really, my intercoolers. Right. But I have intercooler couplers. You know what I'm saying? I just have them. Lo and behold, Rad Dan did something which bent something, that intercooler was rubbing against something, a hole in something. He's walking through the pits. He happened to come ask me, Lex, hey, what's up, man? Hey, do you happen to have? Yep, right here. Boom. Oh, what do you want for it? Nothing. Just go have fun.
Nothing, dude. Because you know that shit's gonna. You're gonna be in that same spot or been in that same spot. And that's one of those things where, like, I mean, if it's something that's like a high dollar part,
I'm not gonna give you a transmission, my guy.
You're not. No. You know, like that's some. That's some lovers type shit right there.
Yeah,
It's
for
like,
sure.
but like, but yeah, man, it's like, I'll tell dudes even at my shop, it'll be some shit. If it's like under like $10 and I ain't dying for it, if it's like my only one, I'll tell guys, I'll need the money to replace it because it's my spare. Like a diff or something. I had a guy recently, he needed a diff. I was like, that's my only spare for that, so I do need $300 for this. Cool, because I had it right there.
Go ahead,
no waiting.
knock it out. We'll square away.
Right,
with it. Yeah.
right. Exactly. So like that, man, it's just one of those things, man, where I don't see it in drag too much. They be like, nah, dude, because I'm gonna win. So
I
fuck
know,
off.
right?
Like
I'm not about to give you the gear ratio because I know your mile an hour up top is too close to mine. I'm not giving you this. You struggle, figure it out. Like I'm getting back like I'm getting back into grip, And I recently just bought a freaking car that is outrageous for the price that I spent, just because the dude's like, oh, you're a rotary guy? You like to grip? You have RX-7s? Oh, I've got a car that you might be interested in. I'll give it to you for this amount. And I'm like, all right. When I go see it, I'm like, yo, you swear to God you only want this for? He's like,
yeah.
I'm like, nah, I swear to God. I'll give you the money right now, knowing I didn't want to spend that money. But it's like, man. I'm not about to let that car go.
That'd be one of those deals where like you'd be like, man, this dude gonna hit me up 2 o'clock in the morning. Hey man, I need you to kill somebody.
Yeah.
Like that, one of those, because I got a car outside right now. Looking at it, is an MR2, a 2.2 liter 3S GTE, HKS, everything. I paid $1,600 for it, man. The guy just I don't know, he defaulted to the guy and it's setting his thing. It needs some cosmetic.
Which is simple.
It got some 90s, like it got the HKS FCON, which I got it there, and I gotta redo some things, but it's a 2.2 liter fully forged HKS 3S GTE set up for drag racing. I'm make some tweaks, time attack. You know what I'm saying? It's already done. I just need new fuel, new tanks, pumps, ECU, and that thing will be running.
I want to show you this thing since I'm on the. We can keep talking, but I'm gonna show you what.
Man, it's like that. He told me the price was Ju Rokumon, which is 1,600 1-to-1 ratio, and I was like, he showed me the list. I'm like, you said 1,600, right?
I know, right?
He said, yeah, and I asked him 3 times. I'm like, bro, 1,600 for a fully forged 2.2 liter 3S GTE. Because I'm like, bro, the machine work alone,
on that,
you know what I mean? Yeah, machine work and parts alone. He's like, yeah, man, I have no need for it. The guy who I got it from has no need for it, so I just want it gone. I was like, bring it over here, man.
I'm the guy for it, buddy.
Yeah. So I mean, I ain't do nothing to it other than discover they had the HKS in there and stuff like that, and the parts list is like long. I mean, it got like a full up aftermarket gauge cluster with Gretty stuff, but it's all street legal, like the signals work and like it's just crazy, man. Sequential shifter and all that stuff, man.
Welcome to California. I know it just went gray, but it's absolutely orange out here. But so I'm at a track day, and the guy said, "Hey, I've got an RX-8 for you." So I just bought a fucking race car with this alone. Is worth the price that I spent on this car. Brand new Falcon 615K pluses on.
You see the gram lights?
Yeah, 57Ds. It's modified. Yeah. It's got exhaust and everything. You can see all of this ash. This is from the fallout that we're literally having.
Fallout, yeah.
It's insane. But, dog, it's a full race car. It's a full caged freaking race car, bro. So
ready to go, man.
I said, are you serious? He said, yeah. I mean, literally gutted. This car is 2,600 pounds. And now I not only have that, but I have this.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, man. So, sometimes it just works out, man. You're a good person, good situation, things like that, man. It just rolls up, man. Like, then that's why I tell guys, man, like you just, I just yesterday, man, I hashed up something with a guy that, we ain't talking like 5 years, longer than that. And it was, the guy came to my shop to drop something off. And I was like, man, while you're here, we're going to go ahead and talk about this, man. Right. We talked about it. And he was like, nah, I didn't have a problem. And I thought he had a problem with me. And he thought I had a problem with him. And actually, for 5 or 6 years, we didn't have a problem with each other.
Nobody had a problem. They just thought.
No, we just assumed that. And it was, he's a shop owner. and I'm actually see if he's gonna do the podcast because I want to talk about it publicly, put it out there, man. But it's just like, man, if you got the energy, it may have been some shit that he could have helped me with, or I could have helped him with, vice versa.
Right, and how much time possibly was wasted on a misunderstanding that you guys could have been collaborating.
Right. And that's all it was, is just misunderstandings on top of, I was like, man, what did you hear? He was like, I heard some stuff. I'm like, well, whatever you heard, if I ain't tell it to you from my mouth to you, it ain't fucking real. Because I don't talk to no dudes anyway. So people was assuming like they would come to my shop and mention his name and I'd be like, I don't want to talk about it. They took it like, as if like, I'm like, I don't fuck with them. I'm like, nah, I just don't talk about men when men are not present. I don't do that shit. So I'm going to shut that down. We're going to talk about what we're going to talk about. But it's like, hey man, just like, going on a rant, just like, that dude knowing you was a good guy, is like, hey man, go ahead, and I don't need it for whatever. This money will benefit me more than this car right now. So go ahead and take it away, man. You probably regret it now.
No,
but you know what I'm saying,
the deal is because he bought a Z06 and turned it into a race car.
Okay.
So he's just like, well, it's just been sitting here. So
it's just been sitting there, man.
Hey, you want it? This is what I want for it. And I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Can't be for real. But then again, I'm not gonna say nah and block my blessings because us was for real.
Yeah. So now you got a car that's ready. I mean, you gotta make a few tweaks, make it yours, and then it's ready for the track. I mean, it looked like. I mean, honestly, it looked like right now. I mean, they could roll right now.
Oh
just
yeah, it's
as
ready.
It is.
I've been testing it in the back road.
Yeah.
I've been toll gate
that
damn thing. But it's funny. Yeah, I'm just gonna change my seat. The seat is okay. But I'm gonna change my seat. I already changed the wheel. I got aero coming. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a better stance and change the color. That's it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I know you're gonna do a video up on it and everything if you haven't done it already.
Yeah, I've been filming. I got a lot, but
I
haven't put anything out yet.
Yeah, I got you, man. But yeah, man, it's definitely that's one, man. I don't know about you, man, but like I'll sell a car and get like 3. I'm like, man, it's like you be trying to get rid of shit and downsize, and you just be getting more back and back, man. It's just like that. It's one of those things, I guess, when you're connected like that and you know people, it's just like you always, hey man, you want this car? And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna pass. Yeah. Then they'll be like, oh, I'm like, then I'll pass some, and I'm like, hey man, actually, tell me a little bit more about this car, man. Like, all right,
that's
cool, I'll
kind
take
of it. Yeah, that's literally how this was, because I said, all right, when he's mentioned it at the track, but it was just like, all right, and then we drive home. As we're driving home, well, my homeboy, he puts me in a group chat with dude and texting, oh yeah, if you want it, whatever. And he just shows me a generic picture of it, and I'm just kind of like, it's all right, whatever.
Yeah.
But then he sent me a mods list, and I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
For real? My thought was, if it's a bucket or if it doesn't run right, I have an RX-8 that I can put all of that stuff on. Like, all of it can just go on there. But then when I go see it in person, I'm like, nah, I want this. I want this for me. So yeah, when I drove it and I was beating up the back roads, because I've been doing that same back road stuff, I was just like, hey, this is a fantastic car, man. So I just get, if you're a good dude in the right place at the right time and you get a cool deal and you get it, it's like, I'll figure out space for it later, but let me get it, and that's generally kind of how it is when you're hanging around the track. Somebody has something that you need. If you ask them and they give it up, hey man, you kept me on the track. I appreciate you. Let me know if there's something I can do for you. Or even if it's nothing you can do for that person, the next person that walks up that has an issue that you can solve, that you can give a good remedy to, keep that ecosystem rolling, man. Oh, what you need?
Yeah.
I got you. So, I mean, that's kind of how I've been maneuvering around through my scene lately. And that's kind of what I've been trying to push on my vlogs, man. Keep that good positivity. Keep that ecosystem rolling really good, because you never know what's coming up in the ecosystem behind you, who's watching, kids, younger kids. We're at that age now that you and I have been in the mix of something for a few years, because we're having fun at it. We don't really think about how long it's been around. Or how long
and other dudes are growing up.
You have kids that were watching it in 2002, and now they are of age out here in the mix. And for like the notoriety, the notable dudes that are very popular and famous, You got those kids coming up, and you never know. They've been paying attention to you their whole life. And if you're a dick, that kid just met his hero, and he's like, dude's a dick. You know what I mean? And like, well, whatever. And they might take that energy. Well, that's just how the scene works. So I'm gonna be a dick to somebody else.
Yep.
And then there you go. Now you set off a bad vibe. So if you keep the vibe cool, you keep it shaking on a good note, on a positive note, you can kind of keep the ecosystem good. So yeah, like giving up parts that aren't that, I got spark plugs that I don't even use but hey, if you need spark plugs, cool, go for it. There was Jason Bostrom was pit next to me in Winter Jam, and he needed all kind of stuff. And it was just like, here. He damn near depleted my toolbox of spares that I had. But, kept him out on the track. And I don't ask for nothing back. I don't want nothing back. But, yeah, you got to rock, though, for the weekend. And you drove, and you drive impressively. And you entertained me. So thank you. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Now, I got a quick story like that before we get into our one. We only got one right here with the GSR, the Sentra. But there was a situation in Nico where I met a group of guys, and they were like asking me like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm a shop owner, right? So they kind of looked at me like, really? Like they just didn't know me. Like they didn't know me, and I'm like, I was like, well, then I could have did two things. Well, I could have got offended by it, or I could show them like, this you can talk or whatever, but when you actually do results. So one guy, he had the S14. And I drove it, and I'm like, dude, this thing understeering, it's doing this, it's doing that. And my guy, he didn't get it. He just bought the car, but he didn't get a chance to prep it. And it was it was set up by somebody who really didn't know what they were doing. And dude, so it was misfiring. So in a nutshell, within 5 minutes, I'm like, well, you got a misfire, your alignment's bad, the camber's all wrong. So I'm like, let's check the coil packs for everything. Check the coil packs, took the plug out. One of the plugs, the whole electrode was gone. Like there was no. It was just like there was like a little nub where it like broke off. It was just eroded, and they turned the boost up too much, and the electrode was literally gone. So the porcelain, the porcelain was just like shooting shit everywhere. So I was like, man, I got my S2000 on the thing. So I went and I went back to the truck, got the plugs on my S2000, which are kind of set up for high compression, which comes. So I'm like, we got to turn the boost down because these plugs are different, explaining the different dynamics, length of the porcelain. So he's like, damn, this dude knows his shit. Put him in there, turn the boost down a little bit to compensate for the plugs being a little bit in more of a hotter range, and versus being cold. So put that in there. His camber, one side, I guess they put the plates in, but they didn't tighten the damn Allen bolts up. So the camber was going, the camber was doing, it was like the variable VTEC camber and shit. So I'm like, look, we got locked. So I locked, I pushed him like with the track, no which con, pushed those bitches inside, locked them in. So you had about 2 degrees of camber, and his front tires were fucked up on the inside because of the camber was going like this. So I'm like, look, man, my car is broken. I can't run, so I'll give you the 17s off of here. Put them on there. Went out full lap, like he's lapping the track now. And this was like 5 minutes of changes. He's like, man, your shit, man. So like, just based off of like, I could have been like, yeah, man, I'll do this and that, or I could have show and prove. So you just talking is cheap. Just fucking show the results. And they like, we clicked up and we talk every once in a while and shit like that. And he was like, man, your stuff. I'm like, dude, I've been in it for a while and I didn't charge him nothing. And my guy was just sitting back. He was like, man, thanks for that, because he was like in a situation where the customer had rented the car for him, but it was he wasn't having a good time.
Yeah.
It was just the shit was all, he couldn't drift it, and that in 5 minutes he was out there, hanging with dudes, man. So he was like, yeah, man.
That is the main key that runs a lot of people off from the scene. They'll get into it, they'll dump money in it, they'll have somebody build a car, the car ain't right. They don't think that nobody wants to think that my car is built like shit, because I know how much I spent. And I feel like that guy's reputable. So I don't want to admit that my whole setup shit, F drifted, it ain't for me. Here, somebody buy this car for $1 million and I'm out. Drifting sucks, drifting stupid. No, your car sucked.
We see.
The builder was stupid.
Yeah, and it happens, man. That's just like when a guy that too much theory without application, man. Like again, go back to that the second round results. Denofa, he already has all the results in his mind, so he knows exactly when he sets that spring rate, when he dials that dampener down, when he does this, he already knows before he goes to their laps, this is going to do this. Right now, it's doing that, but I wanted to do this, and that's where that everybody can hope to be on that level. When you're on that level, is a good feeling, and then that's the biggest fucking. I experienced it there at a day in Nico, where just spending 15 minutes for a car changes the car dynamics to the point where the guy can link the track. Before he couldn't drift without flat spinning or not even being an initiate, or was just breaking up at 5,000 RPMs because that one spark plug, he had no fucking boost. And she was like, bah! It was just breaking up real bad, no boost. And to be able to do that, man, and have instant results is a cool thing. But then also, I'm pretty sure Denofa has been in a situation where he changed his shit too much and
had a very bad result.
Yeah, right. Like, fuck. Like, don't change that shit right before I go on the track for my top 16 rounds. And I've done shit like that before where, like, let me change this damper. I'm like, nah, dude, leave it how it is, deal with it, and then that's what you do in your testing too, not during the event.
I want to be a fly on the wall because you don't really get to see who people really are, really sometimes. And I wonder how that conversation went when he went back in the trailer. Was it a motherfucker?
Yeah, high five.
Or was it a hey, awesome job, go team?
Yeah,
that was great. Do you feel good? Was that cool? Yeah, man. Yeah, we did it. Cool, I like to represent for the team. Or was it kind of on some, you should have let me do my thing yesterday? You know what I mean?
That's what I was getting at, man. I know they're not going to divulge
we'll never know those things,
But it's like, man, I will hope, the most notable guys there right now, of course, is the Maximus Drift guys or whatever. They probably get on there and talk to them and whatever and things like that, man. Hopefully, I'm looking to grow this channel to the point where when I do, DM or PM guys, they'll be like, all right, cool. Because right now, I can tell you straight up, man, I'll be getting the cold shirt about from a lot of guys in the industry. And it is what it is.
Yep, it is exactly what it is.
I'm gonna keep pushing though. I got you, so I'm happy. I got you in my corner, man. So
and see, like one of the most rewarding things. Like with me, so you and I, we both have small channels. The people that come are the people that come. And it could be 90 views. It could be 100 views. It doesn't matter. The content is made for the people that are consuming the content, right? So my thing is when people come to my channel and they're like, yo, this is good content.
When you see that comment, it's like, man, this should have when somebody say this should have more views, more likes, more subscribers. Yeah.
Cool. But I'm glad you're here and you're consuming it the way that it should be consumed. This was made for you, right? And so eventually you're gonna see 500, 700, 12,000, 30,000 views on some things, and then doors might open up. So and so might respond. You might get more than a scene on the DM. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, because I have this same kind of theory when it's like, oh, yo, hey, how you doing? You and I know you've been cold shouldering me. You and I know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to act like a dick to you, though, because you acting like a dick to me. But hey, what's up? How you doing? Welcome to my platform, because then once they see it as a valuable platform for them to come to, then it's like, all right, dude, solid. Because they're going to think that if they're a real one, they're going to think that to themselves. Dude, solid, because he's been doing this for however many years, right? And he's been keeping that work ethic together. And if I feel like it, I can go back in the archives and look at his shit and be like, yo, he's had good, solid quality for years.
Yeah.
So if I get some time, I'm going to binge watch it, see what he's all about. And then I'm going to know more about him, how he maneuvers his platform, how he is with his guests and things like that. And be like, damn, everybody's like homies that he's talking to. And he got a good amount of content. So he's been rocking, he's been working. And then that's when it's like, I'm glad you found me. And I'm glad you're here. You know what I mean? And That's what's going to make it be long-standing, because if you don't get disappointed and down now, when things are like, and I did all this work and all this editing, for just a couple of views, a couple of likes, cool.
Yeah.
But when it starts to really moving shape, then you be like, all right, it's kind of lit now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Because that's the thing too, man. You gotta. They don't care what level you get to in life, man. I think it's just one of those things with humans. It's like that thing that keeps you waking up in the morning, your family, you this, that, and the other. Then I was watching, of course. I bring out Rogan all the time because he's just the guy, the podcast shit, and he had Tyson on the other day, and I think that was one of his last interviews because Rogan moved to Texas, and he got a new studio, which is like Rogan just got the $100 million thing, and dude's like, man, that studio sucks. They like the people just like the guys that didn't like that he moved over because it seems like he got the Spotify deal, but he's still gonna post on YouTube. He ain't fucking like just closing his YouTube account. So so they like, man, it looked like the inside of like a Chinese restaurant in 2008. They just going in on a Rogan, man. And I'm like, dude, that motherfucker do not give a fuck about what you think because he already says straight up. You don't read the comments.
It's still his content.
And you look at his thing, it's just like Mike Tyson, 6.7 million views. Miley Cyrus, 4.5 million views. I'm like, this guy is bringing in 3 episodes. In 3 episodes, he got more views than my whole 280 video channel.
And when you look at it like that, like that's the long and short of it. People will talk that shit about Adam, right? But the content that he makes from those events is gratuitous. And the money that's coming in from those events is wild too. It's like the views that he's getting, say this is one event that cost you this much. That was the budget. But the content that you made, let's say you make 3 to 4 videos on that one bit of content for that one weekend.
Right. You
just quadrupled the amount of money. Let's just say a regular weekend that didn't have events. Let's just say you may have made one video with 400,000 views. Now you've made 4 videos from one weekend that all have 400,000 views. That there equals to 1.6 million views.
Yep. People don't see it like that, man. They see like they trying to get the overhaul. They try to get one
video
out of what you call. So like right. So you take the that's the guys who don't. They again, outside looking in, they don't understand content. They don't understand like a lot of pre stuff. Like again, when you have a guy on set or whatever setting things up, like even you, man, when we set things up, like you got to get the thing to sync and this and that, and people be like, man, what's the problem, man? Like, you ain't ready to go. Like nobody's ever done that shit, and I don't think nobody will ever do that because I would probably never have anybody on that. Hey man, like I'm busy, man. Yeah, like that. I'll be like, hey, actually, you know what, man? Go ahead and do your thing. I'll fucking go by myself. If somebody ever did that, you know what I'm saying? But most people I know I just, unless I'm introduced to guys, which I haven't got to that level yet where your dude's going Rogan and be like, hey man, Chef just got Rogan. Be like, yeah, Rogan don't even like, so he don't even hear that shit because so many people want to put him on his podcast. Like if I want to get him on, I'll get him on. I don't need to have him on.
Yeah.
I only had people I fuck with on. So like again, he had Tyson on recently, and you knew that was gonna be a dope conversation. And just looking at that shit, man. So it's just like, hey man, and with the LZ thing wrapping up the thing on him, man. It's just people fucking want to be around greatness, man, or people doing good stuff because all you see in the real is negative shit.
Yeah.
So when you got people out there doing positive stuff, doing their thing, they know he's making dough off the videos. They're like, man, if he's doing that shit, I can do it. So what he's doing is he's putting hope out there versus motherfuckers just sitting back home just trying to tear every fucking thing down. Yeah. You just got a YouTube account and you be like, you look on that shit and like, there'll be a few channels like your channel, my channel, where we'll comment on something. We actually got 5,000 plus subscribers and videos, and you just got one guy who just comments on everything.
No videos, no picture, no nothing.
No nothing. I'm like, dude, what the? So you just got an account on here to hate on shit. That's all you do, man. So it's like, it is what it is on that stuff. I got subscribers just off of commenting on some other shit. They're like, oh man, you over here too? I'm like, dude, I'm everywhere, man. Like,
right.
He was like, man, I see you Pinku style in the thing. I'm like, dude, I'm not. And to me, that when I be like, man, I ain't getting. I could be like a emo, like, man, Joe Rogan fucking has killed my whole channel in 3 episodes. I'm like, he been doing that for years though. But then you look back, look back. It doesn't correlate into past shit because people don't want to go back. So his first shit still got 20,000, 30,000, unless it was a certain guy they want to see, like Dana White was on there, and it still didn't have a lot of numbers. So it's like they want to go forward. So his old shit ain't really, nobody's going back and watch all this stuff. So you can't, the backlog doesn't always do that. But from him, I mean, if his shit was like mine, one day I went through my channel, I had all my shit from back in like 06 to like WitchCon wasn't even monetized, so I was just giving away views.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, let me monetize. So I monetized YouTube shit. I just went on there, highlighted everything. So all the shit was monetized. About 30 of the videos, they broke the breach of the contract. I had some shit in it or did whatever. Yeah. So like that shit. So I mean, but then like I started seeing dough from like shit from back in 06, 07, whatever. And everything, man. But it is what it is, and that stuff, man. Like out there, man. Like one thing I just wanted before we get out of here is get into the little. I didn't even plan because I wanted to talk about FD, which we talked about it and moved past. But you brought up. I got somebody posted up. They had the for the battles. We had the 97 Honda GSR, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, and then we got the 97 Sentra V-Spec. So they were asking like, what's who's gonna win that? Like, what was it? They give a track location?
No, they didn't give a track. They just said if it was a track day, which one would you choose? If these two cars right here.
All right, so we get more to a choose, not a battle. It's more of a choosing.
But it would still be a battle because literally, if both of the cars are on the track, just the raw power of what Honda did when they built the DC platform, it was that was the car at the time, and so. Right. Given the fact that we're talking about a Nissan Sentra SER versus a Integra, a DC, I think those are 5s or T. What are the GSRs?
GSRs are DC2s,
yeah. So it's like you already know you're not going against a Type R, which is the super top dog. So you kind of got some play there. It's how do you want to go, and it's a close battle. But I would literally give the Integra the lead because. I think it produced just a little bit more power, it had a little bit more wheelbase, it had a little bit more track width, and those few things that you learn gripping, those make a ton of difference. And not going off of the historical fact that the Integra was more successful on the track, it's just that would be the car that you choose because. Who doesn't want to hear VTEC? Who doesn't want to rev up to about $8.5, $9,000? Who doesn't want to just the name itself? Yeah, that's an Integra GSR.
Yeah, GSR. Yeah. The GSR was a back in my day when it came out. GSR, of course, was the most guys were swapping the GSR into like the CRXs, the EGs, EFs. So like they were killing shit, and then like the bubble eye. GSR was one of the, of course, the chick had it on Fast and the Furious, and the shit, the 4-door though, they don't really like the 4-door too much. 2 doors, yeah. So I always wanted a GSR, man. He always looked cool. They were always nice looking. Again, the VTEC, the SCR, man. I had a couple in my racing group. I didn't really like the look of them, man. Yeah. To be honest, I didn't like the bubble.
Yeah,
it looked like an Ultima on steroids.
Bubble, little,
yeah. So I mean, but they went, but then like pound for pound, like I'm a Nissan guy. Pound for pound, like my buddy's SCR was in the shop more than anything else for like the trans issues and things like that. And then of course, looking at the engine with the variable valve cam system. A lot of people don't know, man, out there. I think you brought up before. Nissan actually developed what is now VTEC. And then they was like, some dude named whatever developed it and said, hey man, I think this shit's gonna be dope. And he's like, nah man, you fuck off or whatever. Then Honda was like, cool, really?
Yeah.
Honda took that shit and ran with it and made it VTEC. And then later on, which kind came out the VVL, Neo VVL and stuff like that. So it's a lot of people don't know historically. Again, Nissan developed what is now VTEC. For guys that don't know out there, now. When you're talking about VTEC, not VTEC the fucking phone.
Yeah.
The actual variable
the electronic devices, the actual variable, what was it, valve timing,
electronic cam.
And then VVL was variable valve lift. And then
And then you got Evo got the my
yeah.
effect.
What was that Mitsubishi Intelligent?
I don't even fucking know, man.
Valve, electronic cam. It's all these weird things, but
variable
like
cams.
the what's so popular now, the VQs, Nissans in the 370Z, the intake cam is infinite. You know what I mean? It's like you got infinite cams. Like people, oh yeah, I'm gonna do some cams. You're gonna do what to that motor? Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, it's already there. It's already done, man. So it's like that's cool to see like the manufacturers responding to like it's like, man, we've single-handedly, you've done it, I've done it collectively over the years, man. We've all single-handedly pushed those guys into, we want power because we're gonna make that shit anyway.
Yeah, we're gonna do it.
We're gonna I seen a dude buy a fucking brand new this was back when I was in the game. I was like, man, I want to be at that point, and I could do shit like that now, but I don't because I wouldn't be spending them. So I seen a dude buy Evo 7 when they first came to the states or whatever. Off the lot, brand new. They voided the warranty the first day.
Jeez.
Engine out, trans out, Shep transmission going in there, Shep racing.
What they learned from
we got disc going in there.
Right? They learned that.
Yeah, already. Yeah. Dude already had he bought over a 4G63 from Japan already built. He already had his shit waiting. So he bought the car, took the shit out, put his shit in there. Next night he's at there winning money. So he's already winning money back off of what he spun. And he was just killing shit for a while off the lot. And I'm like, dude, how long? He's like, yeah, we took it home that same fucking night. Ripped all the shit out.
And
back then, no YouTube.
About dudes like that, back then, dudes like that would do that. Oh, yeah, I got built this and that, slap that shit in. And then say something weird happens. Drivetrain destroys. Center diff rips out of the shit, whatever. Hey, swap the stock shit right back.
Yeah.
And then take it to the dealership.
Yeah, you got dudes like that, man, doing shit, man, and like they just like they already know they don't like warranty means very little to most people. Like okay, whatever. I'm not gonna go back there anyway to the fucking dealership and do shit. So it's like that. Then you got I mean, shit. Not a kind of on a different thing. You got dudes who rent the U-Hauls and they do the LS1 swap, take the engine out of the fucking U-Haul. That's on some federal legal shit right there. Like, you get caught doing that shit. You know what I mean? And then they post on fucking dumbass Facebook about it. Yeah. They rent they'll rent the U-Haul. Is one of the U-Haul trucks come with the LS. They'll swap their shit, do a weekend. They're like, so I got this LS1 swap for $19.95. They're like
5.3s though, right? They're the Vortex joints, right?
There was a Vortex one. I don't know, but I know I guess it was worth it to swap it, or do you had a hurt engine? They're like, dude, you know when you put the engine back in there, they're gonna know something's wrong with that shit, or the ECU is not gonna sync up. So they already got the HP tuner, so they can turn off the VAT codes and all that shit and everything, man. So like, it's like is the risk worth is it worth the reward, or are you buying a? That's why you don't see motherfuckers renting out, certain type of cars, because dudes gonna take that engine out. I mean, swap that. We can do it.
We were talking about Mustangs. What did Hearst do? Everybody used to go rent the GTH Mustang, the Hearst GT car, race the hell out of it, go return it. Guys would go. They would do that. I remember them doing that for Mustang rental cars. They would rent the car, take the motor out, put it in their car to set up, go run the NHRA bracket drags, put the motors back in, and return the cars. They would do that here in Sonoma. There used to be a ton of rental Mustangs and Camaros and stuff, or Corvettes, sitting up in the parking lots with the engines out. No motors in the parking lot for the whole weekend. And then slap them back in, have their wives go return the cars as they're tearing down the pits, putting the pit back together, and they go pick her up, and they get home.
You go to turn that bitch in, you pop the hood, like, man, why is it a little dent right there in the center of the core support? Like, I don't know, man. Why? Yeah. Like the fucking transmission or oil pan hit that bitch on the way out of going in. Like, I don't know, man. I didn't pop the hood, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, man. There's a lot of ways around it, man. It's like one thing about motorsport guys, you're gonna find a way, and you're gonna find a way, man. You're gonna make shit happen. I got enough cars outside where I'd be like, fuck, I need this part. Like, oh shit, I run outside, jack that shit up, get a brake hose, get a brake line, get a caliper off here, and just mentally replace it, man. So it is what it is, man. But yeah, I won that thing when the battle. No matter where it is, I see the GSR winning, because the GSR, I believe, also is a little bit lighter than the SCR.
Yep. And
Yeah,
lower
it's a little
center
bit
of
lighter, a
gravity
little.
by like 2 or 3
Yeah,
inches.
yeah. So on any track, drivers being the same, tires being the same, I would give it to the Integra, or whatever you guys would call it over at DC2, whatever, man. I'll give it to that, man. So again, man, hey man, thanks for the time, man. We kind of touched on more than I thought, man. I said, I was like, man, 45 minutes to an hour, man. That shit ain't gonna never happen. Like
I know,
that. You know
I
what I'm
know.
saying?
One
Like
day we gonna get on again.
Yeah.
We would, you know what? We would have to pregame. We would have to. Hey, text me the bullet points you want to talk about. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Because we just gonna get off.
We hit the. You know, we did exactly what I wanted to do, man, which was not robotically say we're around. Like, we ain't fucking newscasters and shit. And also, you know what I mean, I probably had to get with FD and, like, you know, we'll actually go on the guys' sites and get their personal pictures. I can't use any, you know, the YouTube shit. You can't be going and download shit. And you get the strikes, man, for using people's content. Yeah, you got to be careful with that, man. You know, the whole shit went down with Donut Media and Alexi and all that stuff. And
we'll talk about that later. But I wasn't fully privy to that. And I started kind of like, because Gary King, he was kind of not like roasting on it, but he was mentioning it. And I'm like, what's, you know, I always look at something and be like, hold on, what's everybody talking about real quick?
Yeah. Yeah, because it was funny as shit when the dude was like, they was trying to apologize. He's like, yeah, I really don't like your content. He's like, well, dude, I'm not going to sit here and listen to you talk about my content. And so he was trying to pay him for it or whatever. And, you know, if somebody screenshotted it, I guess the conversation between the Humphreys and between him and Alexi. And it just, you know, I was like, man, you know, it was like, come on, man. They were going back and forth. And he's like, all right, well, you know, you feel this way about it. You know, I did it, and I thought it was this, and I thought it was that. And then, of course, everybody. Then again, with them, man, they had there was that one summer or spring where anything Donut Media drop was just like, I was watching.
It was on fire.
And then it just kind of, then I just kind of like, I think the last thing I watched was when they took the Z, they had the turbo.
The high low stuff.
They had the turbos. Yeah, they were like seeing, they both turbo their Z's, but one went with
setup, one was an expensive setup.
Yeah, and that was the last one I seen. I just been busy. Nothing again. I ain't got nothing against Donut Media. I don't know him personally. It just kind of got. It was cool, and then it kind of got repetitive. And they started, you know, like good content creators. They start adding stuff, and then the team. You know that thing when it's just you and your dudes. Then you add another guy, and it's like the other guy fucks with the dynamic. You add another guy, and he fucks with the. So it's like, man, I want to go back to when it was just us.
Yeah.
And the viewers kind of get that they even though they're not there, that feeling, that dynamic is fucked up when somebody gets fired or the guys quit the team or you bring in a new guy and it's just like you know what I mean, that's just cool. And it was cool because I didn't Aaron the RX-7 guy who drove in the I forgot his last name. Drove the RX-7 in the hyperdrive thing. Aaron.
Aaron.
God damn. Yeah. So Aaron, because I didn't know he was, you know, a crew chief for the one of the Falcon drivers, and then they got him in there. So I start seeing his face in there a little bit more. I was like, oh well, he knows these guys and does that and everything. So they brought him in, and that's right after the hyperdrive thing. And I didn't see him before that, so I don't know if he was there before hyperdrive aired or after hyperdrive.
Oh,
so
I haven't watched Donut Media stuff since I think it was the history of F1 or whatever it was, and then they did something the same tone, but it was about S13s, and it's just something about man, all that, I ain't got no time to listen to that.
Yeah, and it appeals to like it's like what they did is they capitalize on lazy, like they capitalize on lazy people who just want to sit back and it's like, all right, you tell me what it is. Like, and there's a lot of guys, well, my customers, they want like, nah, that's not my thing. Is not giving you the history on the combustion engine.
Yeah, my
thing is, you know, building your engine. And then like, if you want to learn that shit, I know it, but I'm not gonna give you I'm not a teacher. I don't get paid to. I'm not giving you an ASC certified certs. That's not what I'm doing here. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, but they've like, hey man, these guys, they don't want to know shit. They want it fed. Let's do this, and it worked.
And then their stuff is, well, from what and this is why I didn't watch anymore after that, because it wasn't 100% accurate. I was like, wait, what? Come on, cuz like you're giving somebody just gonna fully believe that wrong information. And then like how Top Gear is, Top Gear, the production staff, they admitted, oh, we aim it at 7 and 9 year olds. The content was aimed at the age group of 7 to 9. But as consumers, as men, we're mad immature anyway. So, you know what I mean? So, yeah, we're entertained by 79-year-old content. And that's kind of because I know that. But see, Top Gear is more of an intellectual entertainment, whereas them cats are just, you know, it had the winky eyeball things for headlights and all right, cuz. Next thing recommended. That's far.
Yeah, so it is. Yeah, they probably like these guys hate like, nah, it's just, you know, the synopsis or whatever, and this everything ain't for everybody. The way the way it's, because you got some guys where they'll watch the channel and they're like, hey, like they, you know, like a lot of channels they explain what they're gonna do before they do it. Like I used to do that. I was like, hey, just fucking get to it. So I started doing that. Then guys like, well, you didn't have any foreground, so. Yeah. They want all their channels to be the same. Like, every channel is different. Everybody subscribed to do different things. So some guys want to do the put the end at the beginning. That way they capture it. So the guy want to watch the content now to see what brought about the result.
Yeah, they make a sizzle reel or something to put it right in the beginning.
Right. So that way, like, I want to see this. I want to see this shit unfold and go wrong and everything, man. And then, like, you know, or guys like, oh, you don't be putting any breaks down like that. Actually, for me, it fucks me because actually I don't have those moments where shit doesn't start. Yeah, it just works because it's like, unless I, you know, plug the fucking wire. Like I actually, the other day, I'm good at my shit, but I plugged the fucking 1J, 1J's infamous for the cold pack plugs getting brittle and cracking. And I did it a bunch of times, but I put one in backwards and it still worked. But it was misfiring and shit. And I went through it and I was like, man, let me bring this shit back in. The next day, after fresh set of eyes, got some sleep. I was like, there it goes. The green, that just black and white supposed to be on the right. Green was supposed to be on the left. Took that shit apart, bam, fixed it. And it's like, it wasn't something that's significant enough for me to bust out the camera and like, look at this. I put one wire backwards. I'm like, nah, dude, I just crossed it in like 5 minutes and put it back and started up.
It was that simple of a fix. I'm not going to make this a 20-minute thing because I'm going to break the camera out, set the tripod up, then explain. Then put it up, but nah, just do it.
Yeah, that shit, just do it, man. So it's like, and then I know I've done shit where it was shit like that, and I figured it out. I'm like, man, this could have been a bunch of views, but you know, I mean, right now, just what I got going on is not the thing. Speaking on that, man, to wrap up, I had an actual Japanese YouTuber, and yesterday did my first requested interview. Came through and did the shop and everything, and he pulled up in a Gloria RB25 one day. The next day he pulls up in a brand new 370Z with 20-inch work. You know, he's straight YouTube money, straight clean cars. And and then like there was communication breakdown a little bit because he was trying to, like, I was like, I got a channel. He's like, yeah, I seen it. And he was trying to like kind of give me points. I was like, look, man, I was like, I respect it, and that's your grind, but like I pointed behind him like, dude, this is what I'm doing here. I got a shot. Right, and then he's like, Ahsoka, because he figured because if we had a YouTube channel, everybody every day is going towards content, and I'm like, your channel's doing good. He got like about 5,400, whatever. So anyway, he came here. He's smart because he knows nobody. He searched Pinku style, and nobody else has done it, so he's gonna be the first. So that's gonna be. And then he posted my cappuccino. It got 600 retweets in like an hour. Oh, wow. I'm like, holy shit!
Yeah,
you know, this dude's like rolling.
Yeah, star power.
600 retweets. I post a tweet 3 weeks ago with the V8 and it got like one heart and no retweets. You know what I mean? He posts the same fucking shit. He gets fucking 30 retweets and fucking like 30 hearts in like a minute. I'm like, you know, obviously, you know what I mean? You know, so like, I could be like ego hurt, but it was like, hey man, he just knows no more Japanese people. So anyway, today he'll be running a test video, and then he's gonna split it up because it was just too much content. And then I didn't even like speak it up. He didn't know I had a podcast studio, so we come upstairs. He's like, "What the fuck?" And he sees the music. I'm like, "Yeah, man, I do a lot of shit, man." So we wrapped it up in my podcast studio. Him filming me and just talking about stuff and giving my theory because he was asking me, "What do I specialize in?" I was like, "I don't specialize in nothing because all my customers don't drive the same car." And he was like, "What? What do you mean?" I was like, I can build anything. And that was my message. I'm like, Japan is more RB, rotary, Jay-Z. They do that one thing really good. And I'm like, dude, is fucking, is compression, is fucking spark and fuel, the same shit. Even the rotary, compression, squeeze, exhaust, it's the same shit.
Yeah.
They just do it a little bit different. It's a little bit different, you know what I mean? So, and when I can see his face, like, what the fuck? And then that for me, that got out to his viewers that they don't have to be afraid that I don't specialize only in Nissan, because I can talk about an RB, I can go right from the 2J, and also I got a rotary on the table I can tell you about. You know what I'm saying? And I got a V8 over here I can tell you about with 4 cams, you know what I mean, per bank. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I mean? So it's just, that's my thing I want to get out. It's going to be a long road to get Japanese to trust that, because they don't believe that you can maintain it. I'm like, look, man, I told them I dropped out of college. I couldn't pass math. I failed Algebra 101 3 times, and I couldn't get a major. But I can take a new engine, 30 minutes, and flip through the book, and I know it.
Yeah.
I know it. I know, like, it does this. I know when you go to take out the idler timer, you got to do this. 300ZX, you got to put a 10 millimeter bolt in there and squeeze that shit in slowly, or to snap off. The 2J, you got to back it out and do all that. The rotary, you got to make sure you got the thermal pellet out of that bitch before you shove the new one in there. And little shit like that where people don't know, and you can go around and do all that, and they just think that you have to do one thing, man. So
yeah,
it is what it is.
It's kind of like how my content is. I'm not like the end all be all for anything, but what I do is entertaining. And then so me, I just want to, like I say, I promote experiences now. So as I do something, I share it, right? And then you could have not known nothing about nothing, right?
Right.
But if you put me in the car, I can drive it. If you put me on the bike, I can ride it. And so that's just how I am. It's like, oh, somebody's telling me if I show up here, I could do this. Well, I'm there with Bill.
Yeah.
And so then it's like I move, shake it, and then people be like, yo, they perform crazy. Like I drove this dude's turbo BMW on a vehicle test at Sonoma the other day, and they were like, well, dude was kind of like, well, shit, he just served it better than me, And it's like,
that's the best feeling right there, man.
And I just wanted to see your car and express the capabilities of your car type thing, And it's just like, I mean, I just want to show as far as like driving talent, and then the basics is like, it's literally just physics. When I do this, the car does this. When it moves this way, I know I can do this input to make it move this way or come back this way. And it's same thing with the motorcycle. So now I'm kind of going to just move to just certain things. Like I just put up a video the other day, me trying to max out that race bike I put together on the street. Just got up at 7 a.m. I said, yo, skies look like crap. Everything's on fire. It's a holiday. Nobody's on the freeway. Let me go make this bike go do 150 miles an hour real quick, like nonstop through the streets, running stop signs. You know what I mean? It's just like, just wild and splitting lanes, going crazy. And it's just like I did that, and I've been refraining from putting that kind of stuff up. No, I don't do street drifting on my social media. I barely do any of that because I don't want to, I have cops that follow me and all kind of that shit. But then it was just like, let's see what happens. I average 2, 3, sometimes I do like 400 likes on some stuff. And I put that shit up, 1,700 likes and this many views and gaining all these followers. It's like, damn.
Yeah, they want to see it. It's like, there's that fine line, man. It's like, some content that'll probably be like, you're looking at future shit too, because people will look at that stuff and be like, well, you're doing this, man. We kind of don't, we don't want to really be associated with that and things like that. I had to take off a few videos when I got the contracting job because I didn't want them to go in there and be like, oh, so you snow drifting in the mountains, eh?
Yeah.
Now we're going to go ahead and not hire you and shit because you're a reliability and shit. So it's like, things like that, man. It's like, but then, people want to see it.
And then
things,
see it because of the possibility of virality or the excitement level. I've been messing with so many cameras and filters, and I finally got the perfect mix that shows the actual element of speed. And then people are hitting me up all day like, yo, that was kind of scary. It's crazy that you got the sound going proper, because now I'm using multiple cameras around the vehicles. But then I grab the sound and put it together. Right. 2 views, but you got the audio from everywhere around it. And then the actual blur is because wide angle cameras give you a weird sense of environment. now you're getting the blur, you're getting everything. People are like, yo, that's crazy. And I'm thinking, do I want the channel to be that? I can do that.
You be like, this shit gonna turn away to Getaway in Stockholm,
Yeah,
man. When that
Ghost
shit came
Rider.
out, that shit, man. Oh man, that shit, man. I remember when that video, that was back when again the internet was just kind of getting the videos, and then I think I watched Getaway in Stockholm one. I downloaded it from back when like Bear shared. Yeah. I got those videos. And the extra mini vita, whatever the fuck that thing is. Yeah, because I saved all those videos on my hard drive and I actually found it.
With all that stuff on it.
Yeah, man. So like that was back in that time. I'm like, man, this motherfucker is like actually running from the cops, and then like you had the sound again. He had the sound in the engine bay that they put over top of so you didn't hear wind. And they had that Porsche and everything, and then like then it started getting like. Everybody start doing it and everything. It kind
of the Me Too era of videos. Everybody Me Too, and that's kind of my thing. I'm like, I don't want to. I got a special way that I want to do it. I've got a cool opportunity coming up to work with the OGs of the style that I want to create. And like you're saying, those videos, Getaway Stockholm, Ghost Rider, all of those videos is a type of fashion that I want to film. I don't want to film like this new type. Oh, let me use a 360 cam on this or that. I might use one day for something specific. But, I want to film old school style, and I got the opportunity to work with somebody that's going to be pretty tight coming up. But I'm like, do I want my personal channel to be like that? Because I've got a lot of videos where it's me in my face, and it's not like I can hide that. I can blur out the dash and do that DDE, the Daily Driven Exotics things they do. Go do 150 miles an hour, but blur the dash like that's going to save anything. But it's just like. Yeah, I don't know how much I think the local law enforcement will let me slide for that kind of shit,
Yeah. It's a give and take, man, all this stuff, man. But anyway, man, I'm going to let you get to it. And when I let you, because I'm not letting nobody, I hear people say that shit like, I'm going to let you go to the toilet. Like, nah, dude, I don't go to the fucking toilet. Anyway, I just see we were talking for a while because now it's black out the window there.
Yeah,
the sky is gone.
The fire has no light to it now. But
it's about 11. It's about 11 here. I got to go get some cars ready for export and things like that, man. But again, man, as always, man, good to talk to you, man. We got a lot more stuff to talk about.
One day, man, I'm gonna end up on your shores, and you're gonna end up on mine, and we're gonna vibe the whole weekend or something.
Definitely, man. Definitely, like I said before, when that first, man, make the relationship physical, but no homos like that, man, and everything, man. But I remember that first one. You like pause. You gotta be careful now, man. They got I was fucking wrapping up on that, man. I was on goddamn Facebook, and they make the updates for so now I got the dark mode, which is cool. I like that. So I got my Facebook in the dark mode, but then they got in my pocket. I've opened my phone up, man, and my boy. The shit was all fucking rainbows and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? And it's a gay pride thing in there.
Oh, because of the update of whatever day it is.
It changed your whole fucking chat thing. So then they got one in there. Looks like kind of like Team Burst, where it got that purple. So my wife is like a pink purple. So it kind of changes colors. But the gay pride thing changed the whole. Got that conversation was like red, green, purple, Roy G. Biv and shit on that shit. And he's like, man, you good, man? I was like, oh shit, my bad. He's like, man, you trying to tell me something? This is shit. Like, nah, dude, my bad.
I had no clue. Facebook's insinuating that.
Yeah, no, you throw your phone in your pocket before the screen locks, and you call the goddamn cops or some shit like that. Yeah. So it's like, hey, I ain't want to call you, man. Just make it all awkward video chat. Like, nah, I ain't want to talk to you, dude. Later. Yeah. Hang up on them and shit. Like, but all good, man. Like I say, anything you want to close out with? Any promotion events coming up? Hey,
man. For me, events. I'm just a nomad, man. I flow to whatever I can flow to. I've got that car that I'm about to start testing out instead of.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the content
doing the nighttime back road super toge battles. I'm going to actually take it to road race. He says he's done 1 minute 44 seconds around Laguna Seca in that car. I want to go and do 1 minute and 44 or better. So that's coming up. Motorcycle content is always just a good filler between events because either you're going to see something rad or you're going to see me destroy myself on camera. And other than that, my son is now tall enough, and we can probably play it off at a track here sooner or later. So you're going to see father-son tandems very soon. So all of that will be found on my YouTube, Kings of Experience, KOE. You can still pull it up, Kings of Recreation. When you put in Kings of something, it's
going to pop up.
So, yeah, we'll be doing all that on the YouTube, all those associated social medias, man. I just keep it fatherly and PG-13, but, man, just doing stuff, living great experiences and keeping the vibes right, man. And I like to stress that a lot, man. Keep the vibes good, be good to people, because we've been getting nothing but bad news all 2020. So don't add to it. Simple as that.
Well, you heard it right there, man, from the guy Lex, man, coming out of Richmond, California.
Yes, sir. The Bay.
Richmond,
CA,
so last time I was like, me, yeah, he's like, we from Compton, Richmond. Yeah. Well, yeah, man, guys are there again, man. Thanks for tuning in for this, man. Again, we will talk again about the FD stuff. More stuff is up in there. We'll do that. Like I said, it was my bad. I didn't have the challenges ready, because I definitely make that a constant thing. And actually, what I'm gonna do is actually, because I talked about, I'm gonna do that tournament thing. That way, it'll be already bracketed. And every time I talk to somebody, we'll just knock it out till we get to there and everything. Pretty cool stuff. And then, of course, guys out there, if you got any things you want to talk about, because of course the battle thing is we're giving. A lot of people don't know things. Like I said, I mentioned about the VTEC thing. You know, it's a Nissan thing. They trashed it. Honda was like, all right, man, your junk is my mountain. I'm build up this shit. And they made millions of dollars off of that shit. Billions, not millions is an understatement. Yeah. Billions. Yeah, billions of dollars off that shit. They was making lawnmowers and little scooters and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Motorcycles got VTEC on them.
Yeah.
TR 800s, 750s got it on there.
Shit, you fucking a bike with VTEC. Like, dude, how much sooner you want to die?
I know,
man?
right?
It's already, that's just good enough. 150 cc's can take you out if you ain't proper.
Yeah.
So but it is what it is. But again, guys, there, just make sure you send all your topics, any things like that to podcast@pinkostyle.com. Again, this stuff can only grow if you guys are there supporting it. If you got a guy out there that you into, you think he'd be cool to talk to me, definitely hit him up, because again, it'll mean more coming from you than me being in his inbox and I ain't got no relationship with him and shit. You know what I'm saying? So. We can definitely get it in. There's no limits on the podcast, stuff like that. Lex is going to be always a face on here, always and forever.
I support.
You know what I mean? So it'll be the regular stuff on there. And then, again, like I say, we'll link up and do some. At some point, he's going to be here or I'm going to be there. It just depends on the flow of things and everything, man. So, again, guys, there, be safe. Do your thing with the mask stuff or whatever, and just kind of get through this shit. Elections coming up, so expect more crazy shit out there. So just already be ready for the bullshit when you see it. Just go ahead and unfollow it.
For the bullshit.
Yeah. You ain't got to unfriend people, but just unfollow. I got about 10, 15 people on a 30-day snooze. I'm like,
that part. I've been doing that for the last 2 weeks. Sick of it.
Because it's easy. It's quicker than the snooze shit is quicker than unfriending the motherfuckers. You got to go there, click, click, click. So I've been snoozing a lot of people, man, because you just maybe you were having a bad day and you co-sign some other dumb shit, and I'll just give you the benefit of the doubt. But if I keep seeing it, then ain't no room for that dumb shit, man. You got to go. You got to go, man. So again, out there, guys, be safe, be easy. It's going to be Dino signing off from Massage Japan, Pinku Style, Lex from Richmond. We'll see you guys later. Pinku Style out. Peace.